The head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Welcome once again to The Head, the Tail, the Whole Damn Thing with industry professionals Mike D. McCarthy and James Knight. Today's episode, Dusk Till Dawn and Sinners. I really enjoyed Dusk Till Dawn. And Sinners. Is Sinners a musical? Is that a spoiler? I'm not sure. I don't know. Think about it, JJ. JJ the jet plane. Think about it, JJ. Birds get to fly, but they have no arms and they have to eat everything with their face. It's kind of a hell. So is it worth the trade-off? Think about it, JJ. Anyway, off to the show.
So things have been good lately? I mean, we have both been fucking crazy busy.
Yeah, it has been crazy. And, you know, I help run a theater and it's a nonprofit and fundraising right now is a little bit fucked.
Yeah.
But we're doing all right. It was just I would say the last 10 days have been a code red at work and...
By Mountain Dew?
Yeah. Super caffeinated, and my pee is a funny color now.
But it smells of raspberries.
It's about a code orange now.
Okay.
So, still fucking high alert.
I can relate, because I was on high alert until about 4:30 today, and then I was like, okay, these three things feel much more in control.
Are you at liberty to discuss why you were on high alert, or is it an NDA situation again?
It's still the same NDA I discussed last time, and we have a big test coming up next week with all the important people. And yeah, a lot of things have changed. And also, I feel like I'm trying to raise funds as you tell producers how much things cost, and they're like, let me get back to you. And then a couple of days later, you're like, well? And they're like, let me get back to you.
Fuck. Could you just keep telling me that until it becomes last minute and everybody's panicked about it?
Yeah.
Can you make sure that happens? Don't give me an answer now.
Then I'll agree to the money.
Yeah.
When it should actually cost twice as much at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No. What are we here to talk about? Needing caffeine is what we're here to talk about.
No. We are here.
I have electrolytes in this water, and it's got energy in it, too.
Electrolytes? That's what plants crave.
It is what plants crave. Yeah. We're going to go at her family style.
All right. Well, let's start hauling ass and getting paid then. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
Enough with the idiocracy jokes. Let's talk about From Dusk Till Dawn and Sinners.
Two movies that go great together and also don't.
Yeah. Remarkably similar in ways.
Remarkably similar. On different scales of a spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm quite happy with this pairing, actually. It was great to revisit From Dusk Till Dawn. And Sinners, I will say, is only in movie theaters as of this recording. So normally I watch movies more than once. I didn't get a chance to with Sinners. So.
Yeah. Me too. Same here.
Meticulous notes in the dark, which... When I got out of the movie theater, I looked at my notebook, and it's like 3 lines of everything all jumbled together.
You have to put that on the Instagram. Because I definitely want to see that.
Yeah.
For those of you at home who have listened and or haven't listened, we do not share with each other what we think about anything. We don't share any of the jokes we're planning on making. It just kind of happens. So I have no idea which movie you liked or didn't like or how much you liked them, and you as well. So...
let's get into it.
Yeah. You want to hear my little From Dusk Till Dawn opener?
Yes. I've got a hunger. That only your synopsis.
Let's not make this weird.
Too late.
I've got a hunger that only your synopsis can fix.
Well, lay it on me.
Been driving for a while, trucker? The boss got you down on your last run across the states? Are you tired of the C.W. McCall 8-track in your cab? Well, just head south across the border and follow the signs to a seductive experience and intoxicating atmosphere you'll never forget. Take yourself from the dusty highways to the neon-lit stage of the Titty Twister, where the music pulses with the heartbeat of a Stevie Ray Vaughan riff, drawing you closer with every step. This week's headliner is Santanico Pandemonium. She dances with a snake, and she'll make your snake twitch for sure. Check out her OnlyFans for feet stuff. The Titty Twisters. The Titty Twister's been serving the public since 1325. Specials this week on Chango, tequila shots, lap dances, touch okay, tacos, some of the best in Mexico, and all types of pussy. Got a favorite type? It's here. Dog pussy, cat pussy, dog pussy, sticky pussy, blonde pussy, red pussy, bloody pussy, booty pussy. Pussy, pussy, pussy. Buy one and get one for the $1. You can't beat pussy for $1. Titty Twister is the rootinest, tootinest destination for those who crave a little darkness in their light. So put on a happy face and get ready to lap dance till dawn, or perhaps forever. The Titty Twister, where the night whispers your name. Just 10 minutes from downtown El Rey.
Awesome. Yeah. I felt like I was right back there on the lonesome highway south of the border. In 1996.
Yes, so first off, I will tell everybody, this is the first movie we've reviewed that I've worked on.
This is the first one? You haven't done anything for any of the other ones?
I don't think so.
Boy, wow, that colored me surprised.
I mean, I have worked on probably close to 300 movies, and I was hired at KNB for what they said was about 6 months worth of work. Now, this is back in the days when you were given 6 months to work on a movie, to create the stuff for it. Nowadays, we're lucky if we get 6 weeks.
Well, I'm sure that's true, but also, this movie has a fuck ton of effects in it.
Absolutely.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it does.
Like at one point, I just lose track.
But it's all fun. Right? This is a fun, campy movie. And I say movie because it's not a film, because the other movie that we're going to review tonight is a film, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would go with that too. However, you're like, this one is fun. I would say half of it is fun. Half of it is fun for sure. But this is really 2 movies in one.
It is like 2 movies in one. But both these movies tonight are like 2 movies in one.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw it back in 96, and I was super excited to see it in the movie theater. Yeah, I just remember my first impression of this movie, I was like, boy, the beginning of that was so dark.
Oh, yeah.
And then it really gets super fun.
Yeah. True. But that was back then. Did you still feel the same way? Because I watched this movie just the other night, and I thought, well, no, this whole movie's pretty fun. Aside from like 1 or 2 really kind of twisted moments that come from Quentin. But his character is also really fun.
It's just so tonally different in the first half of this movie, before they get to the Titty Twister, when it's 2 bank-robbing, murderous brothers trying to evade the law and get south of the border.
Yeah.
And there's hostages and all sorts of weirdness going on there. I did still think it's dark. When I originally saw this movie, I also remember thinking that the first half of it was slow. And I actually didn't think that this time when I was watching. I think it's got some hallmarks of like that early Tarantino style with the Robert Rodriguez infused into it. You can tell these 2 guys are having a good time collaborating on this movie, no matter what half of the movie they're working on.
Yeah.
Because it starts out sort of classic, I would say, Tarantino trope, 2 people at a mundane location, whether it's a restaurant, diner, or in this case, like a gas station, convenience store kind of place, having a mundane conversation peppered with some off-color dialogue.
I love that Michael Parks character.
The Texas Ranger.
The Texas Ranger, yeah, he's so good.
Talking to a very young John Hawkes behind the counter there.
Yeah.
John Hawkes, who would go on to be in a ton of movies, and he was in Deadwood for a long time playing Saul Starr.
This movie's got a lot of great people in it.
Holy smokes, stellar cast.
And Cheech Marin. And Cheech Marin. And Cheech Marin.
With and y también Cheech Marin.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That's another thing these movies have in common. Somebody playing more than one role.
Oh, yeah. For a second, I was like, was Cheech Marin in Sinners? Because I totally missed that. I do need to see that movie again.
Yeah.
He might be a little out of place in that one.
But he might be a tiny bit out of place, yeah.
But yeah, you've got the Texas Ranger talking to John Hawkes there, saying, yeah, you hear about those escaped convicts, murderers and bank robbers. They busted him from the courthouse, and they're headed their way towards El Paso, which would take them right along this way, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And after, a solid couple of minutes of that sort of Tarantino-esque dialogue.
Talking about his stomach issues and that woman. Man, she should have hit that boy in the head and sold the milk. I'm like, fuck, that's a great line.
Yeah. Off-color dialogue. It makes you feel a little uneasy about the characters before shit goes crazy.
One of my other favorite lines in this movie is coming up. It's when the sheriff goes to the bathroom and George Clooney comes out with the gun, and he's like, you better not make a peep or I will turn this place into the fucking Wild Bunch. Yeah. I'm like, oh, God, I fucking love that line.
Yeah. So that's 100% Tarantino right there, right?
Totally Tarantino. And speaking of Tarantino in this movie, I said I was hired by KNB. It was the first KNB movie I did back in like 1995. I think I was brought on to work on this movie. And Bob Kurtzman, the K of KNB, also a very good friend of mine, he came up with the story for this in 1988. And what they originally wanted to do is Bob wanted to direct it. They wanted to do like a little $2 million vampire movie, which is why it all sort of takes place in one sort of central location. And
it's easier to mop up that way, too.
Exactly. He knew of Quentin through Scott Spiegel and somebody else who are friends with Sam Raimi, right? And said, I know this young kid. He's a good writer. You should take a look at his stuff. So Bob read a couple of his scripts. He was like, yeah, I read Natural Born Killers and True Romance. And I thought, okay, this kid's got some skill. So he paid him $1,500 to write From Dusk Till Dawn. And then it just kind of sat there for a little bit. And part of the deal of him writing Dusk Till Dawn for $1,500 is, will you work on my movie Reservoir Dogs and do the makeup effects for it? So they did.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah, they did the makeup effects, the ear chop off thing in Reservoir Dogs for Quentin as a favor to sort of help pay for him writing the script that they intended to turn into a movie because they were going to use it as a platform for their company KNB, which was pretty young at the time. So they wanted to do this big thing. Well, they were unable to get that off the ground. Quentin took off like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They continued to work with Quentin. And then all of a sudden, as Bob was shopping around Dusk Till Dawn again, it came up where they wanted to buy it because it was a Quentin property. But then they didn't want Bob to direct it. They said, we're going to have Robert Rodriguez direct it.
Yeah.
And so Bob just stayed to make the makeup effects with all the rest of us that were there, and kept his hands in the movie that way. And then Quentin, of course, also plays a character. And Robert, he had just done Desperado and El Mariachi, so he was pretty young in the game.
Yeah.
So that's what got them to...
But hot. I mean, Rodriguez was so hot as well. I mean, El Mariachi made such a big splash as, the indie film that could. And then Desperado was so much fun. And I mean... pretty much launched Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek's career from that, It was terrific.
Until she stuck her feet in Quentin's mouth.
Yeah, okay. So should we talk about this right now? Because the Tarantino foot fetish is something that I never noticed until I noticed it, and now...
And now you're like, hey.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a neon light on it.
Yeah, like a couple of different times in this movie. And then I thought... Tarantino wrote this bit because he will drink beer that is poured down Salma Hayek's thigh and leg off her foot. And he just put that in his mouth. And I was like, you wrote that in there for yourself. Totally. He was like, you know what? I got an idea.
Exactly. How could I make this more interesting for me?
Yeah, well, it worked.
Who are they casting? I'd really like it to be Salma Hayek.
Do you know that she has a pretty big fear of snakes? She had like a phobia of snakes.
Yeah.
Going into this movie, and I guess that Rodriguez or Tarantino or one of them would tell her, like you got to dance with this snake when she was resistant. And they're like, Madonna really wants this role. Madonna wants this part. And she was like, no, I'll do it. No, that's gotta be bullshit, because I cannot imagine in the titty twister like this.
I cannot imagine a Madonna either.
Dive bar in Mexico, the curtains reveal fucking Madonna
with the
pointy
little plastic
cone
fucking
bra.
Devo cone bra. Yeah,
golden ponytail and headset.
Man.
No, I don't.
Fucking
think
Material Girl, not so much.
But I'm not making that shit up. I've seen numerous interviews with Selma Hayek where she mentions that. Yeah, they say Madonna. She wants this role. We have Madonna waiting.
Like a vampire. Bit for the very first time.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, all our Madonna fans out there.
Yeah.
We apologize. But this opening scene will introduce also George Clooney. This is like his first real
his
movie
first big feature,
as a lead, right?
Yeah,
as a leading man.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He was making the jump from being on ER, being on TV. And this is an era where movie stars did not do TV and vice versa. At least it wasn't, that area wasn't so gray as it is now.
I mean, now there is no area. Now it's all the same. But back then, you're right. It was absolutely, you're either a TV star or you're a movie star.
Yeah, and so he was making that leap, and people didn't know if he had the charisma to pull it off.
Yeah. Boy, does he.
Man, George Clooney could be cast in a movie with like an empty tuna can and have fucking chemistry with it. You'd be like, boy, that relationship with the tuna can was amazing.
Did you see how he bent the lid back?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. And the can seemed really responsive to it.
It did. There was that one moment where he flipped it upside down and gently squeezed the lid to get the juice out.
Yeah, right down the sink. Like, God, look at that technique. So gentle, firm.
Yeah, but
pried it back and...
Couple of takes, he squeezed it too hard. It got on his shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
This has been a Hollywood Minute.
Well done.
Yeah, so Clooney and Tarantino, brothers in this.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know what mom was doing when she was pregnant the second time. But her first son was George Clooney. And then she was in a celebratory mood for a couple of years after that.
She went on a real bender and met Mr. Tarantino.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
A tall, gangly fellow with a large chin, which got even larger at one point in the movie, and that was pretty comical.
It is. Yeah. When Quentin Tarantino turns into a vampire in this movie. It's
Mardi Gras Quentin Tarantino vampire?
Mr. Moonface.
Yeah.
He's making Mac tonight.
Completely. I love that skull, too, that we had at KNB. When that skull hits the ground and spins. So great. That skull's been around the shop forever. And
really?
Yeah, we always put it into things, or it would be like, oh, yeah, we should put that skull over there on display.
No shit.
Hell yeah. And I've always wanted one of those skulls. Sadly, I never got one. You know what I did have? I had a bottle of Chango. Bottle of Chango beer from the set that I took when we were down there.
Chango.
Yeah, Chango is like Robert Rodriguez's brand beer. You can see it in the movie.
Can you see it in his other movies? Is it like Tarantino? Because you see Big Kahuna Burger in this at one point,
absolutely.
Which is directly from Pulp Fiction.
And the cigarettes, too. Those are also from Pulp Fiction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Steve Joyner, the prop master, has done all of Robert Rodriguez's movies and Quentin Tarantino's movies.
Oh, beautiful.
Well. So it's
I love those props.
Yeah.
Steve Joyner?
Nice. Steve Joyner. Great guy, Stevie J. Love him. He's awesome.
Listen, I really want to give a shout out for his cereal choices, like the Fruit Beast and Kaboom.
Yes.
Like, those are both excellent breakfast cereals.
Yeah, totally.
Fruit Beast in Pulp Fiction, Kaboom in Kill Bill.
Yeah, all those things are fantastic. It's a shared universe, the whole Tarantino-Rodriguez thing, which is great. And I was a part of it for so many years. I mean, I worked on a bunch of Tarantino movies at KNB. I did Dusk Till Dawn. I did
Kill Bill, right?
Kill Bill, yeah. Django.
Okay, yeah.
What's the other Western?
Hateful Eight?
Hateful Eight. Worked on the Hateful Eight. The only one I went to set for was Dusk Till Dawn. But all the other stuff I worked in the shop.
And then you've done Rodriguez too, right? Because
Rodriguez, I've been on set for all the Spy Kids movies, both the Sin City movies. Quentin actually directed a sequence in Sin City. Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah, that's the one with Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's sitting in the car and he's like smoking and the smoke is coming out of the wounds and stuff.
Yeah, doesn't he have like a part of a gun like stuck in his forehead or something?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What a wild movie that was to work on. For a long time, that was one of my favorite things that I had been involved in was Sin City. Like people would say, oh, what's the favorite movie you've worked on? It was like Sin City. But then when I was watching Dusk the other night, I was, you know what? I forgot how charming and fun this movie is and how much fun it was to be a part of it.
I hope it was a blast.
It was.
Looks like, again, the latter part of this movie, when it becomes an absolute splatter fest, that it was either like a lot of fun or just like a tremendous amount of work. And maybe it was both of those things, which is actually a great combination when it works out that way.
Yeah.
But let's set the table before we get to all that, because
when we get to it, I'll have more things to say, but go on.
There are so many effects in the latter part of this movie that I almost lose track. I have some of my favorites I want to talk to you about, and I know you have some things that you want to focus on. But essentially, we've got our brothers, the Gecko brothers, Seth and Richie, played by George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino. And they're on the run from the law. This opening scene at the gas station, they end up murdering both the ranger and they burn John Hawkes' character, the convenience store clerk, alive by Tarantino shoots a bunch of liquor bottles, and then Clooney throws a flaming toilet paper roll over the counter. Great stunt.
Okay. I was going to say great stunt.
There are a couple of fire stunts in this. Well, there's more than a couple, actually, but there are a couple that are really great. But this guy, on fire, gets up on the counter, shooting a gun, falls off the other side. I don't know if it's into a table or into a shelf or something.
It's into a bunch of popcorn.
Yeah, I know the popcorn. Right. That is the piece, the resistance, right? Watching his burning corpse and the Jiffy Pop is...
Yeah. That last element of him just screaming and with the legs kicking, that's a puppet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just just puppet legs being kicked back and forth like rod puppet.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Skilled him.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then you get the brothers walking out of there as the thing explodes behind them. It has been done in many, many movies. But certainly Rodriguez likes that. That's in Desperado, I think, as well.
Yeah.
You know.
He loves that trope. I mean, who doesn't?
Sure.
There's the walking away from something exploding, and there's the sandwich on a fucking corner table.
Yeah. You can't tell me that at times in your life you haven't exited a place and just thought, like, I wish this would just blow up right behind me so I could slowly walk away from it like ice fucking cold. Like, fuck that
with
place.
your duster jacket blowing forward.
Just putting on my fucking sunglasses all slow, like...
That's right. This does not faze me. That's how cool I am.
But our brothers are driving down the road then in their dusty Mercury Coogler. Nice. And you get that shot. Oh, they've got a hostage. There's a woman in the trunk.
That's a good cutaway shot.
It's a bit odd. Like,
it is. It's just weird.
Because it looks through the car into the trunk where you see her all bound and gagged and everything.
But also, right around then is the KNB card. The front card, makeup effects by Kurtzman, Nicotero, and Berger. It's when he's looking through the hole in his hand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Tarantino got shot through the hand in that moment.
That's a great front card. No one's ever going to beat that as far as a cool front card, in my opinion.
Nice. I can't say that I noticed it, but now I'm going to try and find one that's better.
Yeah, there you go.
Challenge accepted.
Beat me.
But they get to a hotel, and there's a pretty dark sequence where Clooney goes out to make arrangements to meet their contact down in Mexico and check out the border. And Quentin's like, hey, come sit on the bed with me, hostage lady, and we'll watch old Looney Tunes. You know he's a creep from the beginning. You know he's a weirdo and a creep.
Yeah, totally.
And then Clooney gets back to the hotel room. He's like, hey, where's the hostage? Oh, she's in the other room.
Yeah, just
What's
nonchalantly.
She doing?
She's back there.
What's she doing in the other room? And he opens the door and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Richie? And there's just like quick flashes to blood and corpse on the bed. And
it reminded me of Manhunter.
Huh?
The flashes when he's looking at the crime scene and you see those like, quick shots of what he's seeing. Yeah, it's good stuff.
You wanted to take the shoes off her feet, didn't you? Didn't you, you son of a bitch?
You have a foot fetish, don't you? Don't you, you son of a bitch?
Yeah. Seth, George Clooney, gets a little rough with his brother Richie, as you might do it. He's like, I don't do this. I'm a professional thief. I don't kill people unless I have to. This is not who I am. This is not who we are. So you get a little difference in the morals of the two scumbag bank robbers who are our heroes in this.
Yeah.
But also, this is right around the time you meet some of our other main characters.
Yeah.
Including Harvey Keitel as Jacob, a preacher who has recently lost his faith due to the death of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, they'll talk about how his wife died. George Clooney's prying a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Like, how'd she die? It was an auto wreck. Oh, did she die right away?
Yeah.
Jesus, what kind of question is that? No, sir.
Here's a moment for you to tell me how terrible it was.
Yeah. She was trapped for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
In pain before she passed away. Okay, it's fucking intense.
Had beavers gnawing on her feet. What? Just randomly add some weird shit.
Yeah.
Crashed into a truck full of fucking jalapenos. The juice just kept dripping on her wounds.
But you also meet Harvey Keitel, Jacob's family. You've got a young Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd already done a bunch of movies before this.
Yeah. I want to say she was like 18 or 19 at the time. Something like that.
Yeah, but I think she had already done Cape Fear, right?
Because Cape Fear, she was like 15 or 16.
Yeah. Oof,
yeah.
Weird. Great movie.
Great movie.
Uncomfortable.
But also uncomfortable, absolutely. But this has its uncomfortable moments, too.
Oh,
that
sure
one
does.
moment that she has with Quentin's character, pretty fucking funny.
Well, which one? The one where she's like, Richie, will you eat my pussy? That one?
Yeah. And he's like, huh? And she's like, would you eat my pussy for me? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. and then later when he's like, hey, what you said back there in the room. And she's like, huh? Because Richie had obviously imagined it all because he's fucking crazy.
Because he's a nut.
Yeah, what you said in the room, did you mean that? And she's like, what? Because she has no fucking idea what he's talking about. And he's like, because I could do that. And then I love Clooney's response. He's like, Richie, put in your bit.
Put in your bit.
And he slowly puts in his rotator and he just goes, I grind my teeth.
Yeah.
I was like, that's such a fucking great moment.
It is a great character bit there.
Yeah, it is. As twisted as his character is. It's
nice
great.
little touch. Because yes, our brothers, the Gecko brothers, they take the family hostage because they've got an RV and they can get them, they think, across the border. So
that's right.
I think this is when you get Cheech number 1.
Yeah.
At the border.
Cheech number 1.
Stopped by the Border Patrol. They're all going to play it cool. And the brothers are going to hide in the RV's bathroom with Juliette Lewis. And then Harvey Keitel and his son are up in the front. It gets a little tense there where Cheech is like, I'm coming on board. Because he hears a thump in the bathroom, knocks on the door, like, open up in there. And there's Juliette Lewis is taking a little spot on the toilet. Hey, do you mind?
Yeah.
And unnecessarily creepy Cheech. Like, he's really like
stays a little. He
lingers there, and then as he's closing the door, he kind of like moves with the door so that he can get as much look as possible.
Do you let it linger?
Jesus. Cheech, close the door.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a nickel for every time we shouted that, right?
Yeah. Cheech, close the door.
Hey, sorry, man. Oh, that was probably a little bit too much chong in my Cheech. Oh, sorry, man.
That's a good chong.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, man.
They make it across the border. And Seth, George Clooney, is like, just go down this road, hang a left over here, you'll see the bar. I hear we can't miss it.
Follow the signs.
And hey, you couldn't miss that place.
No.
It kind of looks awesome.
It is fucking awesome.
It's neon and flames shooting up and motorcycles.
Yeah.
It's Mad Max, Mexico.
It is. It is. It was also just a facade in the California desert. It was just a front.
Yeah,
which they accidentally burned down at one point. Well, not down, but they fucking damaged the shit out of it.
Oh, you mean it's not an actual Aztec temple?
No, I'm sorry.
Man, ruin the illusion.
Serving the public since 1325.
I did catch that. Very good.
Good. Nice. Just 10 minutes from downtown El Rey.
And then you get Cheech number 2 right away.
Cheech number 2.
And the first time you see this movie, you're like, oh, more Cheech? All right.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It's not over yet.
And this is the Cheech that just goes on and on about the different types of pussy. And I was thinking to myself, can you imagine the TV edit of this movie? Come on in, poutine lovers. We've got bacon poutine, hamburger poutine, cheesy poutine, gravy poutine, raspberry poutine.
Potato poutine. Light poutine, dark poutine, Canadian bacon poutine.
Come on in, poutine lovers!
Everyday poutine, routine poutine.
Kentucky fried poutine.
IHOP poutine.
Turkish delight poutine.
Wow poutine.
The ethnically diverse jalapeno popper poutine.
The tyrannical world leader, Vladimir Putin.
How about for the kids? It's Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham Poutine. The very special over at Denny's Moons Over My Hammy Poutine.
Oh. Harry Poutine, shaved poutine.
Oh, you had me at shaved poutine.
Sorry, it was shaved Parmesan poutine.
Oh, it's even better.
Shit. Yeah, that would be good. The TV swearing version of this. And, you know, I think some of the dialogue is great. Like you mentioned the Wild Bunch moment earlier. And there's some other really good, snappy little lines. And then there's some other dialogue that
are just dumb.
Yeah. It's just like, whoa, where did that one come from?
One of the worst ones is Fred Williamson. Hey, monkey man. Like, what?
Although I do like, come on, sex machine.
Yeah.
Later on. That's good. Yeah. And I was in Nam. Oh, you know it's about to get good.
Yeah. He's about to do that fucking, what was that Deep Blue Sea speech that
yes, Samuel L. Jackson gives
before the shark jumps up and takes him.
Totally.
So great.
No, but I think, you know, Robert Shaw's Indianapolis monologue, George C. Scott, Patton in front of the flag.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cheech Marin in front of the titty twister. I mean, these are the monologues that make movie history.
Would you do that monologue for an audition?
I wish. Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
What if it was a movie you didn't want? I prepared a monologue for today.
Yeah. I don't think you would get very far.
You don't think so?
No.
I mean, they may just let you go.
Yeah. Wait, how many kinds of poutine?
He is talking about poutine, right? The delicious Canadian treat.
But what made me originally think of that is there's a moment where George Clooney is talking to Harvey Keitel, and he says that they're a couple of mean motor scooters. It's almost like they did a TV edit in the actual dialogue of the movie, which I thought was odd. I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice. As many times as they drop an F-bomb, here he just decides he's going to say motor scooter.
That might actually be another callback to one of his other movies, because I think Reservoir Dogs, he says, come on, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Oh, does he say that in Reservoir Dogs as well?
Maybe. I don't know. Huh? But Reservoir Dogs is a movie I have not seen in a while.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
And I really should watch again because that's kind of a brilliant piece of film work.
Yeah, I'd like to see how it stacks up in my imagination.
They talk about Madonna.
Terrific. They sure do. Boy, they sure do.
He's like Charles Bronson in The Great Escape. He's
digging tunnels.
Come on in, Poutine lovers. It's so good.
But I think the group does love Poutine because after beating Cheech in the face, George Clooney he's like, everybody play it cool. And then he immediately assaults the bouncer.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I watched it with my wife, Grace, and she's like, he's not being very cool. No. He just told everybody to play it cool. I'm like, I know. She's a little concerned at this point for them walking into a potentially hostile situation.
They get in there, and the titty twister looks like it's tons of fun inside.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of scantily clad dancers on tables.
Yeah.
And I will say, for a strip club in the middle of the Mexican desert, close to fucking no one, they've got a very attractive clientele.
They do.
There's not a C-section scar to be seen. No one's dancing in a cast.
I know. There's no amputee strippers.
Although that sounds awesome.
It kind of does. I mean, I'll be honest.
How does she work that pole with only one arm and one leg?
It takes a lot of strength. Everyone loves a comeback story.
Core strength is incredible. They really have
pretty not realistic.
Strict hiring practice there, I guess.
Yeah, I've been in a Mexican strip club where they actually squirt breast milk across the room. I'm like, whoa, okay, no, I'm good, thanks. I'm gonna go outside, try not to touch anything.
You missed that. And she missed the cup of coffee, too. I thought I had it up high enough. But who's behind the bar?
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. World record holder for most deaths in movie history.
Yeah.
Here he is. Still working on it. Yeah, young Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
You guys get out of here.
You're not truckers.
You can't drink here. Get away. Hey. Yeah. Don't worry, Harvey Keitel's got it covered because he needs a Class D license or whatever it is to drive the RV. Mm-hmm. We are truckers. Okay, then, enjoy yourselves.
At the time this movie came out, Pantera's Cowboys from Hell was a big thing.
Oh, okay.
We were listening to it a lot.
Yeah.
And my buddy Gino Crognali would always sing Harvey Keitel instead of Cowboys from Hell. So here you go. He's coming for you. He's Harvey Keitel. So I always know just like, Harvey Keitel!
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Harvey Keitel is wonderful in this movie, by the way, too. He's really had a varied career, and he's played tough guys and skeevy guys. And
oh, boy, has he.
He is, yeah. He is the reserved family man, just wants what's best for his kids. You know, the preacher who's lost his faith. I really like his work, always. I've always been a Harvey Keitel fan, but
yeah,
I really
me too.
like him in this movie upon watching it again.
Ever since I saw him in Taxi Driver, I was like, that dude, I'll watch anything he's in.
Yeah, fucking great. But then Cheech comes back in after they've been drinking. He's like, hey, these are the guys that assaulted me.
Yeah.
And then, again, George Clooney not playing it cool like he told everyone to.
Not at all.
They just start murdering
Not even
people.
a little bit.
Murdering.
Yeah, he's doubted shots and going, I'm going to finish this bottle, and I'm going to smash this bottle over that guy's head for touching me. And like, calm down.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the, I think, best lines in the movie happens at that point, too, where Harvey Keitel says, are you that big of a loser?
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, are you such a loser that you don't realize when you've won?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a fucking solid line.
It is solid. Yeah.
A little bit of philosophy in here. That's a fucking line you could use on people from this movie. Like, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a well-written movie. I mean, it's not great, but it's stylish. It's swaggerful. This movie has got a huge swagger to it. And it's cool.
It's like the swagger you get after having your seventh beer. Like, it's bold swagger, but it's also crashing into the walls a little bit. And knocking
bold
shit
swagger
over.
down the stairs, my friend.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Bold Swagger puking out the side of the taxi cab.
Rock and roll. Yeah. Just the friend who's unstoppable on his fucking 11th
this is the
beer.
Bold Swagger that's having the big, greasy, thin slice of pepperoni pizza at 2 a.m.
Rock and roll. Oh, but all hell is going to break loose now because these guys can't get put down by bullets because it's a bar full of vampires.
That's right.
And soup's on, motherfuckers. It turns into a bloodbath.
It does.
All the strippers bare their fangs. There is, I guess we didn't even get into Satanico Pandemonium.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Salma Hayek's big snake dance.
Yeah.
But after Quentin Tarantino drinks the beer off her foot.
Can I just say the music in this movie is great?
Oh, yes.
It's a good soundtrack. And I
It
remember buying the soundtrack after the movie came out and being like, yeah, this is a great soundtrack.
Is that Tito and the Tarantula? Is that the band back there?
Yeah, Tito and Tarantula is the band, and they have like 2 or 3 songs on the soundtrack, along with ZZ Top, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Some other stuff. I've never been a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. I think that guy looks silly in that hat. But... And, like, I don't understand some of his songs. Like, he just took, like, Mary Had a Little Lamb and turned it into a rock and roll song with a fucking, Mary had a little lamb. His face was black as coal now. Yeah. I mean, it's got a hell of a fucking guitar solo, and he's a great player, but I'm like, I don't know, man. The long fucking coat and the hat, not so much for me.
Yeah, you wouldn't be caught dead in a long coat and a hat.
Well, that's not true. I actually have a From Dusk Till Dawn crew jacket.
Ooh,
and the
nice.
crew jackets were dusters.
Oh, brilliant. Of course they were.
Waterproof dusters that go down mid-calf, and it has the embroidered Dusk Till Dawn logo on the on the side. It's great. It's really great. It's fun.
That is a good one. You'll have to post a picture of it on Instagram.
I will. I'll put a hat on, and I'll put the duster on.
And just hashtag Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah. Exactly.
But this
I will do that.
Bar is about to go fucking crazy because the vamps start feasting on all the truckers.
Yeah. Who, at least 3 or 4 of them, are makeup effects guys that worked at KNB on the movie.
Well, you very clearly see Greg Nicotero there.
Yeah.
Because he gets a beer snatched out of his hand by Tom Savini.
Yep. And that right there is makeup effects royalty, those 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
Howard Berger, who is the B of KNB, pops up as a vampire at one point.
I thought I recognized him too.
Is in there. Brian Ray is in there. Norman Cabrera is in there. All guys that worked on the movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I was under the stage. I'm not in there. I was under there.
Yeah, you did some puppeteering work, right?
Yeah, I puppeteered the giant rat at one point.
Yeah, we've got all sorts of fucking carnage happening now.
Yeah.
And I think, does the band even transform here? And this is it. I mean, the turn the movie takes here is so extreme.
It's so drastic and campy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
But and it hadn't been campy really at all up to this point. It had been dark. It was like, oh, they took this family hostage. There's flashes of dead hostage on the bed, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But now, like, the band is playing with instruments made of human corpses.
Parts. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that guitar being put together. We're all like, huh? Why? This doesn't make sense. Like, okay, whatever. It's just assembled, fabricated out of, like, goofy body parts.
And they're going for it. And there's some early bad VFX in there, too. I mean, they're
sad,
bad.
sad. Mm-hmm.
I would say they just haven't aged well at all.
I mean, it was 1996.
When I saw it, though, it didn't look as rough as it does now. You know, back in the day,
a lot of time has passed.
But it's really just splatter city up to this point. I mean,
yeah.
Quentin gets bit by Salma Hayek. He'll come back, and, you know, Seth will have to kill his brother, who was the fucking creepo. Mm-hmm. And Tom Savini and Fred Williams.
The fucking show in this movie.
Yeah, Tom Savini is great.
He is great. And you wouldn't think of Tom Savini as being great as a character actor. You know, when you look at him in, like, Dawn of the Dead, he's fine in Dawn of the Dead. Mm-hmm. Night Riders, he's nearly naked. If you guys don't know Night Riders, that's a strange movie. That is a George Romero movie where it's basically Excalibur on motorcycles. Just look it up.
2 great tastes, 1 convenient package. Knight Riders.
So Tom Savini, yeah, he's great as Sex Machine in this.
Yeah. He has that weird gun, like crotch revolver. Whose idea was that? Do you know? Who was
I don't know.
This is what this character needs?
But I have seen it since then. It was somewhere at Troublemaker Studios, and it may have been Stevie J might have had it still.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, ooh, check that out. The working dick gun. So hilarious.
Yeah, both Tom Savini and Fred Williamson sort of join our main crew here in defending this bar against the first wave of vampires. And then as the bats are circling outside, we have the second wave where the truckers who were recently bitten are now coming back after they, they're staking them. And I do appreciate that they take some time to say that the vampire's flesh is softer and spongier so that you can like tear their arms off or just like drive a table leg through them.
Yeah.
It's amazing that in this complete and utter splatter fest, they take a break for someone to like, well, logically speaking, this shouldn't work, but, just in case anyone's suspension of disbelief had been stretched a little too far.
Yeah. Well, and there's that whole, like, what do we know about vampires?
Oh,
well, garlic, holy water.
Yeah.
Silver. Does silver have something to do with vampires? Like, well, I know silver's werewolves.
Does anybody have any silver?
Yeah. Then I guess it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
And Harvey Keitel says, are we saying things we know about vampires, or are we just saying things we remember from movies?
Yeah. But then he'll also say, has anyone here read an actual book about vampires?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what fucking actual book about vampires is there? Isn't it all shit we've made up? Is there actually a legitimate book about vampires? Because that would have been news to me. Let me ask you, though, as things go fucking nuts here, and we've got all these effects.
Yeah.
A lot of times there's like black blood that's splurting up.
Yeah.
Now, is it really like just a dark red, or it really looks black? At least
there was
watching it on my TV.
There was a lot of different colors that were used. And that's kind of a gimmick that we sometimes do in makeup effects. Because if you do the color blood, then the Motion Picture Association can take more offense to it looking like blood.
Okay,
but if it's black or it's white or it's green, then it's more fantasy and it's not as violent.
Okay.
So
not as violent.
Yeah.
I think at least 3 times decapitated heads get kicked towards the camera in this movie.
Yes. Of course they do. This has been a Hollywood Blood Minute. Want a better rating? Use a different color.
But that moment where they say, what do we know about vampires, is also where Seth convinces Jacob to be a mean motherfucking servant of God.
A mean...
Again,
servant of
Harvey
God,
Keitel being great.
Yeah.
And during the staking, Tom Savini's character, Sex Machine, had been bitten, and he's slowly and comically turning into a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my fangs, better cover them up. Oh, my hand.
Yeah.
And he will
really
sneak up on Fred the Hammer Williamson, talking about his time in Nam.
Watching that scene, I'm like, they're all standing there talking to Fred Williamson.
Yes.
And Tom Savini's behind them all.
Yes.
How does he sneak around behind Fred Williamson and then the hands bloop, 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 come over? Logically does not make sense, like a lot of things in this movie. But I'm like, I don't care.
Again, all the more surprising when Tom Savini's like, well, hear me out. Just scientifically speaking, the vampire's body seems a lot more malleable and prone to being pierced, even with blunt objects.
I am your scientist sex machine.
Yeah, so poor Fred Williamson is now bit, and he will end up throwing Tom Savini's body through the door. All the bats come
Yeah.
Oh my God, the family's got to run into the back room where they lock themselves in.
Enter the third ecosystem of vampires.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to see, as they secure themselves and get ready for the final assault here, we are going to see a fuck ton of vampires here.
Yeah.
At this point in 1996, I mean, it looks like there's like 40 people in suits and makeup. There's like a crowd. Was any of that done with visual effects, or is there... Yeah?
A bunch were comped in, yeah.
Okay.
I want to say that there was maybe 8.
Oh, excellent.
And there's the one thing that is partially cut out, which is the mouth bitch. I don't know if you...
Oh,
you probably see one moment of her.
When all 4 of the stripper vampires are coming up, and there's the one on the left who's all like haggish. And she's got no clothes on. She has that big gap in
belly
her belly.
and a big mouth there. Yeah, there's a sequence where her belly tears open and you see the teeth, a little like The Thing. And she chomps on Gino Crognoli's head, who is one of the guys that sculpted it.
Oh, man. He must have been so disappointed when that was cut out then.
Totally. You can see a part of it in that Full Tilt Boogie. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you do see that one. And some of them look really haggish and ghastly. They're all naked now and shriveled up. And
there's
some of them
really
look very bat-like.
crazy-looking, bat-like vampire things. There's so many different types. It was kind of like smorgasbord of, well, let's just throw some stuff at the wall and you make one and you make one and you make one.
Well, you said 6 months of work, man.
Yeah, and there was probably a crew of 20, 30 guys that worked at the shop for
Holy
like 6 months making all this stuff. And I honestly can't remember if we were doing another movie at the time or not, or if it was pretty much just Dusk. I mean, they told me at the time when I came in and interviewed for a job, they needed mold makers. I was like, well, I've done a lot of mold making, so yeah, I'll come. And they're like, we got about 6 months worth of work. And then 22 years later, I left. Yeah.
So our family and George Clooney now are locked in the back room and decide to make a final stand. Harvey Keitel comes in. He's like, I've been bitten. I'm already dead. So you got to promise me that if I turn, you will kill me.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can't do it. He's like, you got to promise me. And I couldn't help but think in this moment, too, because every once in a while you get a movie and it writes itself into a situation where it's like, well, we got 2 choices here. And I was like, no, there's more than 2 choices. They could just be like, well, you're a vampire, Dad. Go back out in the hallway. We'll lock the door here and we'll wait till morning. But they happen to be in a room full of all the stuff
taken from the truckers and
so
stuff. Yeah,
they're in like the treasure room essentially.
It really gives you a good fun
montage.
It's like a Lost Boys type montage.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love it. It's great.
I do too. This is a super fun part of this movie where they're all rigging up. He's got the shotgun and the baseball bat, using it as a cross, and of course good crossbow in there. George Clooney rigs up probably the least practical. It's like a jackhammer with a wooden stake on the end.
And I don't know how it works.
I don't know.
Not being plugged into something, but okay.
Sure. It's gas powered, I guess.
Yeah. It must be propane powered, yeah.
Also, like, you get one of them on the end and then you're kind of done.
Yeah.
You know?
You kind of got to work them off
By far the best weapon is the son, who has a super soaker full of holy water and condoms filled with holy water that he will use as grenades when he get out there and just start blowing dudes' heads apart.
Yeah.
It's great.
Good weapons, terrible actor.
Well, he's not in a lot of stuff.
He's not in a lot of stuff, no.
And they will all go out there and start wreaking havoc as best they can. And one of my favorite effects in here, too, is when Harvey Keitel eventually turns and then gets his head popped. There's like that half Harvey Keitel head oozing out all the grossness.
Yeah, I was one of the puppeteers on that one, too. And
oh, really?
Or I was pumping goo. I might have been pumping the goo on that one, and somebody else was doing the movement. Yeah, but I did get to shoot Juliette Lewis in the face with Cheech Marin's goo.
Oh, that's a great effect when, like, his eyes kind of pop out and it just, like, sprays all over her.
Yeah.
Oh, so gross.
Yeah, because we did it with the head, right? And then it was like, okay, we'll move the camera in front of Juliette Lewis, and you just stand next to the camera and point the fire extinguisher with the white goo at her face. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shoot white goo all over her face. And that's exactly what I did. This has been a white goo shooting minute.
Yeah, she definitely got some Cheech in her chong, I think.
Buchonki. We should cut that. That head blew all over her face. We apologize, Mom.
But also in this splattertastic part of the movie is when Tom Savini gets his head taken off with a bullwhip.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there is that crazy rat puppet.
Exactly.
That comes out of it. Now, I think you were the puppeteer on that. So can you
Yeah, I was one of the puppeteers on it.
Head and tail of this and tell us how it's done?
If you watch the sequence, you see Tom Savini's in a makeup, right? So there was a head casted Tom Savini. We created a vampire makeup and for his hands as well. Beyond that, he is just in his regular wardrobe, leather jacket, so on and so forth.
Sure.
So vampire hands, vampire makeup, the whip, which Tom Savini famously always uses. He's famous for like having a whip, playing with a whip. You can find videos of him online with a whip. George Clooney? Yeah, whatever.
I'm not sure I want to Google that.
Yeah, what else is it? Yeah.
So Quentin Tarantino foot stuff and Tom Savini
Tom
whip.
Savini with a whip. That's a whole website on its own.
Yeah.
So Clooney hits him with the whip, wraps around his neck. We pull the head off. Now, first it's Tom, and he's struggling with the whip on his thing, right? And he gets pulled down onto the ground, like on all fours. At that point, he becomes a fiberglass body with a fake Tom Savini head on it.
Sure.
Boom. We pop the head off, which is tied to the whip, right? So that fiberglass body is hollowed out and has a latex and polyfoam rat head that's been painted with all the, like, we call them nurnies. And basically what it is you stipple latex on, like, a flat surface and punch a bunch of holes in it by rubbing a bunch of holes in it and then start to peel it up and let it wrinkle and do weird things. And it looks like stretchy, terry, weird...
like tissue being shredded.
Tissue, yeah. So we would put some of those nurnies, like blood color or yellow color or a mix of both, across the opening, and then take the head, the rat head, and shove it through the neck hole. So it's starting to stretch out, right? And you see it stretch out, and it's
so
like we're
gross.
just we're behind it. It's just a tight shot. We're behind pushing the head through like that. You see the stuff stretch. Like, great, that's cool. Then you cut to his hands, right? His hands were fiberglass versions of the makeup that was on his hands, and they're hollowed out in the arm where all the wardrobe is. So we had rat hands from the rat puppet, but we had them all the way out, right? Covered them with the goo, and then pulled them back inside. So that's actually a reverse shot.
Oh, no shit. Oh.
Yeah. So when the hands come out, that's actually in reverse.
Okay.
And if you were to pause it, you'd see that there's already goo on the hands that are on the floor. You know, the fiberglass vampire hands that are on the floor with the nails and stuff. And so, yeah, that's a reverse shot of those coming out. And then we just took the wardrobe, his jacket, or a version of his jacket that was like cut all the way down the middle. And then we had the rat puppet, and we just put a bunch of nurnies on the back with a bunch of goo and the wardrobe that was pre-shredded. And then like one guy holds it on either side, and then you just bring that puppet up and tear through the jacket. And then you're just at full puppet mode.
Yeah.
And it was an elevated stage, and me and another guy, I think Chris Robbins, were under the stage, and he was doing the jaw and I was doing like the body movement, and it was cramped and it was hot, and we just basically fought Clooney, and I could just hear like up above us, and the dust is coming down because it's not the cleanliest place to be.
Oh man. Right? And that set got just completely covered in gore and
covered
viscera.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, we were under there. We puppeteered the rat. He fights the rat. And you see in that sequence, the rat's feet are secured to the floor, the rear feet, and everything else is bouncing up and down. So just the rear legs are secured to the floor, and we have like a fulcrum weight bar beneath to like move the body up and down
Sure.
and rise and fall.
Sure.
And it's loosely jointed in the front legs, and then the head was a mechanical neck and jaw. And then he struggles with it for a few minutes and then holds it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just
and then
under
you
it.
see Juliette Lewis, she's going to shoot at it. And so he kicks it up into the air. And that, at that point, was just a latex and polyfoam version of it with no bones, no mechanics, nothing like that.
Sure.
Just a loose, floppy latex and polyfoam painted version of the rat on a cable pulled by the stunt department across the room while Clooney pretends he's kicking it away.
He's kicking it. Sure.
Yeah. And then it bursts into flame and burns up. And that's how we did that. That's the head and the tail of it.
Well, it's awesome. And so weird and unexpected at that point.
Yeah.
Really bending the rules of sort of vampire lore here.
Like I said earlier, there's like so many ecosystems in this. I mean, Salma Hayek is like a snake vampire.
Yeah.
And then all the different looks of the vampires. And then there's some that are bats. And then when the bats come in, you know, there's like a mechanical bat that's upside down at one point.
Yep. And gets its head blown off by Harvey
gets his
Keitel,
head blown off. I was there for that part too. A lot of this stuff was done like during like the last week of shooting. Inserts of like puppet heads and puppets and things like that. And those guys in the suits, Clooney used to call them Wookiees. You're like, bring the Wookiees out. Where are the Wookiees at?
Okay.
Because they all had so much hair on them, like hiding like edges of things. Because those suits got so beat the fuck up.
Oh, I'll bet. Well, it is pandemonium at the end of this movie. It's absolute carnage. There's people flying all over the place. There's another great fire stunt where somebody gets set on fire and is writhing around. And then, I'm not exactly sure why, but things just start exploding. Like, not just when the sunlight hits them, but like Juliette Lewis hits that rat thing with a crossbow and it blows up.
Yeah.
She shoots her brother, I think, with the 44, and he explodes when he's getting gnawed on by the vampires.
If you remember, they put crosses on the bullets.
Is that why it does?
That's exactly why it does that. Crosses
literally
on the bullets.
made sense to me and then didn't again. I guess so.
You're like, sure. All right. You mean like you would if you were making a dum-dum, right? Where you'd cross-hatch the bullet. But if you make it like a cross, and then you're firing across, so she fires at her brother. So because she hits him with a cross and they're all feasting on him, they all blow up.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's almost like at the end they just wanted excuses to blow things to pieces.
And
which is a good time.
Yeah. Full standing vampires that are like polyfoam and blood.
Because they realize as it's just down to Clooney and Juliette Lewis, the vamps are circling in, but the sun has risen. So shoot holes in the wall. So they're creating more holes that are burning the vampires. And then they hear a knock on the door like, hello, my friends. I'm looking for Seth Gecko or the Gecko brothers or whatever. And he's like, oh, it's Carlos.
Supposed to be here.
Like, blow through the door. So the door explodes open and the sunlight hits the disco ball, which then just splays rays of sunbeams all over the inside. And then, I don't know, like 10 more vampires explode.
Just explode. Yeah.
Pow, 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 pow.
Yeah. I remember spending weeks making exploding vampires.
Oh, yeah. My God. I believe that.
Yeah.
There's just so much carnage at the end.
It's all just stiff, hard foam. And you have to make sure there's nothing in there that's going to hurt anybody. So you can't put in like wood or any kind of structures. Yeah. It's just got to be this soft. Well, it's not soft. It's a hard foam, but it crumbles when it blows up. And it's lightweight. It's not going to create a projectile.
Sure.
But you hollow out sections of it and put a bunch of blood in and a bunch of det cord. And those things just fucking evaporate. I love making blow up shit. Blow up shit is fun.
Well, apparently everyone in this movie liked making blow-up shit because the end of it is just vamps a-popping, just left and right. So Clooney, Seth, and Kate, Juliette Lewis, stumble out of there. And hey, Cheech number 3.
Cheech number 3 with one of the best lines in the movie.
The third Cheech.
Once there were 2. Then the third. Cheech 3. Cheech me once, shame on me. Cheech me twice, shame on you. Cheech 3, the chong.
What's the best line? What's one of the best lines in the movie?
Oh, it's when George Clooney's complaining about, I just lost my brother. Do you know what we just went through? And Cheech goes, what were they, psychos or something?
Yeah. And Clooney's response is like, hey, we're vampires. Psychos do not explode when the sun hits them. I don't care how fucking crazy they are.
Yeah.
Good dialogue.
That is great.
Fun.
It's
fun
awesome.
dialogue.
Yeah. This movie is fun.
Sorry, man. They negotiate a little bit. Hey, everybody gets their money. Clooney's going to El Rey. Juliette Lewis, who has just lost her whole family.
Yeah.
He throws her a stack of money, and she's like, do you want some company? And then, I think this is one of the dumbest closing lines in movie history. I just don't... How did this one ever pass?
Yeah.
He says, I might be a bastard, but I'm not a fucking bastard, and drives away.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, that's such a Mad Lib response. Like, I need to fill in a word here. Like, he could have said anything else. It just makes no sense to me. It's such a tepid closing line on this movie that has had some really choice dialogue in it.
I agree.
Know?
And I feel like she should have went with him at that point. She's lost her entire family. Yeah. Her mother's already dead. She's now on her own. Maybe he just doesn't want to take her to a place where bad things are going to happen to her.
Well, I mean, yes, and I understand the sentiment. She's the preacher's daughter.
Yeah.
There's nothing for you where I'm going. You may have nothing left, but there's certainly just bad times ahead if you hang out with me.
You do not want to go to El Rey.
No. Throws her a stack of money, and the final music starts playing, and then the slow pan back, and we see that it was an Aztec temple buried in the earth with all the trucks and the wreckage around it.
I wish that was a better matte painting.
You know, it may be a bad matte painting, but the first time I saw this movie, I thought, oh, that's fucking cool.
It is cool.
I thought it was cool, and it's a mystery that's never really addressed, at least in this one. I don't know. I know there are sequels. I have not seen them.
I worked on them, too. And the TV show.
Well, do they address the Aztec temple?
I believe in the TV show they get into the more Aztec-y type stuff.
Okay.
And in the second movie, they absolutely do not. The second movie is a bank heist movie.
Okay. I just thought it was a cool, interesting idea. And it was the kind of mystery that when I watch a movie, I'm like, I don't need an answer to that.
Yeah.
They just kind of threw that little cherry on top, and I'd had a good time at that point, so I left the theater happy.
Okay, so that was then, and this is now. What do you think of From Dusk Till Dawn, and what do we rate it with?
Exploding vampires?
Sure.
Yeah, exploding vampires.
Okay.
You know, the biggest problem is that it is wildly uneven in tone. It's two movies. And I enjoy both of them. In fact, I think I enjoy the first part more now than I did when I was going into this.
Totally.
Like years ago. But in the end is a ridiculous, absurd splatterfest. But it's a lot of fun. This movie to me is a solid 7.
Okay.
I think it's a good time. I do like the effects. Some of the VFX haven't aged that well, but it was 96. I give it a pass on that. To me, it's just how absolutely insane the turn is. It's a fun turn. Do you know what I mean? Like, you get to that point and it's vampires, but the story itself goes from being something that's a little gritty and dark and kind of realistic
to being very campy.
Cartoony.
Yeah.
100% cartoony.
Completely.
Yeah. What do you think? How many exploding vampires are you giving From Dusk Till Dawn?
I hadn't seen it in a really long time, and I remember loving it when, I almost said when I was a kid. I mean, technically, I was a kid when I was working on it, right? I worked on it when I was 23, I guess. Yeah, I think so. I think this movie still stands up, still holds up as far as being a really fun movie. And I put movie in quotations because this is a movie, it's not a film.
Yeah.
It's fun, and on the fun scale and on the movie scale, I give it an 8. 8 exploding vampires out of 10, which means it's a 4-star out of 5-star.
Yeah. It is fun. I mean, the idea itself that you are trapped in a bar or you trapped in some place and you are surrounded by vampires and all you have to do is make it till the morning, that's a great idea. Yeah. That's a great little story idea. Yeah, let's run with it.
Yeah.
So
one of my notes is From Dusk Till Dawn is Stevie Ray Vaughan in contacts he bought online reading Fangoria mixed with Assault on Precinct 13. That's what this movie is.
Well, Ernest Liu, I think is his name, who plays Harvey Keitel's son, he's got the Precinct 13 t-shirt on.
He does.
In this.
Yeah.
A nod to that.
And it 100% is a nod to Precinct 13, which Bob Kurtzman told me was one of his favorite movies because he loves siege pictures, and that's what he sort of based the idea of From Dusk Till Dawn on, was it's a siege picture.
Yeah,
bunch of
it is
people
a
trapped in
vampire
place.
siege. 100%. Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
Well, shall we go into the lobby and then talk about a movie that has a lot of similarities? A very different type of picture, but
these movies couldn't be more different or more the same.
They have some striking similarities.
Yeah.
And that is Sinners.
Yeah.
But I can use some popcorn.
Yeah. Let me go get a snack and a drink, and I'll see you back in the seats.
See you in a bit.
All right.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the diva to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And we are back from the lobby. When we first proposed doing this pairing, it just seemed like such a natural pairing. Like sometimes
Absolutely.
we struggle, sometimes we go to the Discord, sometimes we get some pretty wacky suggestions.
Yeah.
Not this time. This was like,
No.
we're going to do Sinners, what should we do it with? Instantly, From Dusk Till Dawn comes to mind.
In fact, one of the guys that works at the shop, Gabe, he saw Sinners on opening day and texted me and said, Sinners paired with From Dusk Till Dawn. And I went, oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I immediately texted you.
Yeah. My good friends here in Crystal Lake, actually, like I went over to their house and they greeted me at the door and they had just seen the trailer for it. And they're like, are you going to do Sinners on your show? And I just talked to you. And I said, yeah, we're going to pair it with From Dusk Till Dawn.
And they went, what's that?
Of course. No, they knew that one. They knew that one.
That's good.
Yeah, sometimes we have to go to the Discord and find out what movies we're going to pair with. But, Mike, how do you even get on our Discord?
Oh, if you join our Patreon, which is the whole damn thing at patreon.com, you get access to the Discord. And on the Discord, we have lots of little chat rooms.
Yeah.
If you're one of the $4 supporters, you have access to even more chat rooms where you can suggest things that we're going to review. You can vote on things we're going to review. You also have access to the live watch along. We've watched a couple of things just to get in there with patrons and watch something fun. Like one night we watched a Making of Maniac that I was heavily involved in. And then next time we watched Zombie, Full Cheese Zombie, which if you're a $4 supporter or a $2 supporter, you get access to that video, which has extra music bits that we put into the movie, our commentary, Tyler's there. It's actually really, really funny. It came out great. Everybody had a great time. And you get there by being a patron.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff on there. Fun little extras that, you know, we work on in our spare time. And we're just cultivating a great community, honestly.
Absolutely.
It's a bunch of cool people. And obviously there's a lot of horror talk, but there's a lot of talk about other stuff too, and other kinds of movies. And there's writers on there and other artists and other effects nerds. And it's just a great place to go and sort of get involved and talk with some people who've got similar interests and cool people from really around the country now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny things they come up with too.
Oh.
It is. It's a great little community. Anyway, find us on the whole damn thing at patreon.com. The link's in the show notes.
And speaking of community, it has a lot to do with this new movie that we're about to talk about. Now, for those of you who might be tuning in for the first time, we will do a spoiler-free version of our review and our take on Sinners first. We'll take another quick lobby break, and then we will come back in and talk about the movie in depth and spoil everything.
Yeah.
So, this one of your first times? Worry not, we are not going to spoil anything here.
This is a vampire movie.
You can,
That's not a spoiler.
that is in the trailer.
Yeah.
That is in the trailer. I do want to say a special thank you to Tyler before I start this one for a little bit of inspiration. Sinners, 2025. Brothers and sisters, welcome once again to the Church of the Cockcaradon Cockcarius. Today I am speaking about a phenomenon sweeping our fair country. From the north to the south, from the east to the west, from the streets of Chicago to the Mississippi Delta. I am talking, of course, about Sinners. A story about return, about a dream, about the strength to change, and the wretched claws and terrible fangs of a devil himself that tries to tear away your very soul and take you from your community. What path will you choose when the fiery-eyed stranger arrives at your door and asks to be let in?
Choose the right path.
Will you throw open the entrance and dance the devil's jig in the witching hours?
Nope.
Or will you shutter the door and proclaim, "Avaunt thee! Get thee behind me!
Indeed.
Not today, Satan!" Take heart, my brothers and sisters, for guides we have to take our hands and our heart and walk us to a more fulfilling movie experience than some blood-soaked dalliance of horror and hatred.
Hell yeah!
Director Ryan Coogler ascends the pulpit, and with a cast of righteous storytellers brings us a tale of a sun-stroked day and a blues-soaked night in the Jim Crow South of 1930s Mississippi. Our boy Samuel, the son of a preacher himself, schooled in the ways of the church, but taken with the spirit of the blues, a music that's destined to bring both the historic harmonies of the heavenly host and the discord of demons. The twin brothers, Elias and Elijah, but known as Smoke and Stack, prodigal sons in their wayward ways, but not in their resourcefulness, return home to open a dance hall, a music venue, a juke joint. They are joined by a host of characters that threaten to set the very roof aflame with their talents, even as they try to keep evil from crossing the door's threshold. From its mythic beginnings, through its enthralling character reveals, until its horrifying climax and thoughtful conclusion, Sinners fearlessly reaches beyond time-worn conventions towards a timeless and lofty goal. A horror movie that artfully goes for the heart.
Nice.
Brother Michael, what do you think of Sinners? Is it preach on for Ryan Coogler? Is it an amen to Michael B. Jordan? Is it a hallelujah for Sinners? Or shall it be cast down into the flaming pits of despair, never to be watched again?
I would never cast this film down into the pits of despair, never to be watched again, because I feel like I am going to like this more on the second time.
Oh, preach on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I will say this, dear brother.
Lay it on me.
I do feel like this movie isn't quite sure what it wants to be.
Oh, please, elaborate.
I do feel it has a good message. It has a message of culture and holding that culture tight to within. And it has a message about how if it is to get appropriated, it's being absorbed by an outside force that you don't want to have anything to do with it.
I think this movie has a lot of messages.
It does.
And I think sometimes it leaves those questions sort of ambiguous and lets you as an audience member decide how you feel about certain things, how you feel about the way it's going. And then sometimes the message that this movie is trying to convey comes in very hot and very heavy.
Yes.
But I personally think that it's most delicious when it is letting you kind of decide how you feel about things. Because I think it's messy in its message, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think real life is messy. I think to have an answer that's too cut and dry might work for other movies, but I think this movie is actually aiming higher, you know?
It is. This movie aims high. I think this is a well-made film that fails as a vampire movie. I think this would be a better movie if this was just a straight-up 1930s Mississippi gangsters versus the KKK story of redemption and revenge. I think the vampires take second seat to this. And, I mean, it's almost an hour and 20 minutes before you even see a vampire. And are we getting into spoilers here?
Well, it has a lot in common with From Dusk Till Dawn.
So much.
So it goes on for a while before the horror elements are introduced. But I will agree with you in the fact that I think this movie works really well when it is just a story about brothers returning to their birthplace, the Mississippi Delta. You know, you've got the twin brothers played by Michael B. Jordan, who does a great job at, I think...
He does do a great job.
Differentiating these characters. I mean, physically, they're not that different. You've got the Smokestack twins, right? Is what they're known as. And the brother Smoke is...
Smoke and Stack, yeah.
He's a soldier. He's numbers-oriented. It's kind of black and white. He's very pragmatic. And then Stack, his brother, is more of a charmer. Can tend to see things in a little bit more shades of a gray. He's a talker. He's a little bit more slippery with his words.
I'll be honest, for the first 20 minutes or so, I didn't even think about the fact that it was the same actor.
Yeah.
But once I started to key on the fact that it was the same actor, it became a tiny bit distracting.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah. At times, you could see the eye line isn't 100% lining up.
Well, they did use a body double and stuff for a lot of this, you know.
Yeah.
They found somebody who had Michael B. Jordan's ears so they could film him from behind.
Yeah, but there was a couple of times where it's just like, they're standing face to face, and I can see it's the same guy, and that is making me focus on the fact that it's the same guy and looking for faults, you know? That's what I mean by distracting.
Well,
it's forcing me to find a problem with it and say, oh, there's a flaw.
Look for the seams. I mean? Yeah.
Totally looking for the seams.
Yeah.
I don't want to be looking for the seams in this movie.
I was not looking for the seams, but I understand that there is a point in this movie because we could only see this once because it's still in theaters right now.
Yeah. Did you see it in IMAX by chance?
I did not see it in IMAX.
Neither did I. And I'm hearing that you really should because of the aspect ratio change mid-film. Now, I didn't even notice an aspect ratio change.
I didn't either, but now I'm super curious.
I want to say it happens during a big music sequence and then goes to the end of the movie.
I can't wait to see this movie again.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
I really, really enjoyed it. But I understand that there is a scene with Michael B. Jordan talking to himself, essentially, as the twin brothers. But that if you look at their shadows, they don't quite line up. Because
they might be the
they
time
were
that
filmed at different
times
of the day, right? Yeah. So one of them, the shadow is coming on a different angle than the other one.
Yeah.
God, the shit, you have to keep track of it.
Yeah.
No kidding. Sometimes.
Is this movie well made? 100%.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Is this movie well written? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I keep saying movie. It's a film. It's not a movie. This is a film. Dusk Till Dawn is a movie. This is a film.
Yeah, just in the way that Dusk Till Dawn isn't really trying to do more than entertain you. And Sinners has some things to say. Or if not things to say, then definitely some things that you should think about. It wants you to think about as an audience member.
Absolutely.
And it's a great ensemble cast here. Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, Delroy Lindo.
Delroy
come on,
Lindo.
Man.
He was great.
Yeah. Anytime Delroy Lindo pops up, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. And he's been doing TV for a little while, so I haven't seen him in a movie for a bit.
Yeah.
So I was thrilled when, like, all of a sudden it turned around. I think I literally said, fuck yeah, in the movie theater.
Yeah. We have a connection to Delroy Lindo, though. You and I do.
Yes, we do. One of our most quoted lines to each other.
Yeah. A brother's love.
It's a brother's love.
That's right.
Delroy Lindo from Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds. Terrible movie.
Yeah, but look, it gave us that line.
It did. It did. Stood the test of time.
Yeah. I do want to talk about it a little bit more before we head into the lobby and spoil things.
I mean, we should talk about what we don't like. What do you not like about this movie?
Well, there's a particular sequence in this movie that I think is blowing a lot of people away, where I've heard a lot of praise about it.
I know what you're talking about, and I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's made me think about it and what it is trying to achieve a lot. And ultimately, I think it is a bold choice. It's an amazing choice. It alienates me a little bit, but I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like, it took me out of the movie, but it has made me out of the movie think. Too. It has made me think about the choice that the director made, because why would you take me out of the movie at this point? It's such a deliberate choice.
There are two sequences I feel the same thing about. I believe we're talking about the same one, and then there's another one a little bit later that I'm like, I fucking hate this.
Oh, well, I never had that strong of a reaction to it.
I mean, maybe I fucking hate this is a little hot.
Well,
but I did not care for it because it took me out, which is why I said it's a good film that fails as a vampire movie.
Well, I think I can say this part. And this is going to sound super heady, but I will preface it with saying no movie that we've watched in a while has really stayed with me and made me think about it. Not just the story and the music in this movie, which is fucking tremendous. It's so,
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou Good?
It is. It is. But so many parts of this movie have stayed with me and made me think about them, and there's a certain sequence. Now, it's impossible to not sound too heady about this, but there's a theater concept that started back in the 1930s, right? It was a German theater, and it was essentially a very famous director created something which is called the alienation effect or the estrangement effect. Of course, it's German, so it has a fucking crazy, it's the Verfremdungseffekt, right?
The Verfremdungseffekt.
You got it, right? But essentially, he would create, in the plays, he would create moments where he would want you to not get wrapped up in the characters and in their emotions. He would want to take you out of the emotional journey of the characters to reveal something about the story itself. So if you're watching a story about these people who are growing up in poverty, he would create moments that would literally take you out of the play, where the characters would suddenly break the fourth wall and start talking, or they would start referencing things in the script, and you would become aware as an audience member that you are watching a play. You weren't just being drawn into the story. And the whole idea was, if he had something to say with it, he didn't want you to just get wrapped up into the story. He wanted to bring you outside and say, this is about much more than just the story that you're watching. It's about this whole movement here. Right? Now, I'm not saying that Ryan Coogler was like reading Bertolt Brecht before he fucking sat down to write this fucking screenplay, but it is, to me, essentially the same effect in this movie, where it took me out. It actually, it's called the alienation effect. It kind of alienates you. It estranges you. It takes you out of the story that you're watching.
Yeah.
Because there's a bigger moment at hand that they're trying to get across. Now, does that work? Right? Does being taken out of that actually work for you as an audience member? I think some people will say no, and there are other people who will find it to be the absolute most magical thing in this whole movie.
And I think that's what a lot of people are praising is I believe the moment that you're talking about.
Yeah. But for me, I will say it took me out of it. And I didn't want to go out of it because I was 100% invested in this story. In fact, as I'm writing my notes in the dark in the theater, at one point I just wrote, I fucking love this movie. And it was before that moment. I was like, I'm fucking in it. So to be taken out of it, I don't think I enjoyed it for the magic that it was trying to be conjured at that moment.
Sure.
In hindsight, in thinking about it, I praise the choice. I think it's a bold choice. I think it's an amazing choice. And when we get into the spoiler section, I'll attack it a little bit more head on. But I don't think that choice is for everyone because it, to me, is like deliberately taking you away from being invested in the characters for a moment and then concentrating on an aspect of the story. And it's also, for me, the most heavy-handed that this movie gets. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just the most direct with its message. Like we were talking about before, there's other messages and other themes that this movie is touching upon, whether it's cultural appropriation, like you were talking about, or your sense of community and who you are and where you belong and who can belong to that community and who can't belong to that community. I think there's a lot of themes that get touched on, and I think there's a lot of different ways that you can approach it as an audience member.
Sure.
I'm not sure that is true about the big magic moment in this, which to me seems like a pretty direct message that's laid out.
Yes. Well, what are we going to rate this movie?
Ooh, blues guitars?
Blues tracks on the album?
Yeah, blues tracks on the album.
Okay. How many blues tracks on the album out of 10 did you like?
I'm giving this one 9.
Wow.
Well, and I'll tell you why. We watched it once, and I thought it was tremendous. And then before we recorded tonight, I had to decipher my notes. And I wrote them all down as best I could. And I was listening to the soundtrack as I did this. And I was kind of reliving sometimes my notes would line up with the soundtrack.
Sure.
And I was like, this movie is fucking dynamite. And I can't wait to see it again. Yeah. I give this one 9.
Okay. I only like 7 tracks on the album.
Ooh. Maybe the biggest discrepancy since Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
I know. Like I said, this is a good film, a bad movie.
Ooh, I don't know. I think there's an argument to be made that some things might not work as well.
As a movie.
But it's a beautiful experience in the theater.
It is. It's good. Like I said, it's a good film. It's well made. It's well written. It's well acted. It's shot great. It looks great. Everything about this is great. But I feel like, as a horror fan,
sure,
if you are watching this movie because you're expecting a vampire action fest, you are not going to get that.
I mean, the only thing that makes From Dusk Till Dawn true in that regard is just how over the top it gets at the end. But you're certainly watching that movie for a long time before you get any sort of vampire
Dusk Till Dawn,
action.
you're watching it for about 45 minutes. But I think you're watching this movie for about an hour and 20 before.
Could be, because this one's a little bit longer. This one's a little bit longer, I think.
I will say I think this movie is too long.
Okay. Well, I think some of the criticism I've read of this, they're saying, like, yeah, you know what? It had about 15 minutes too much. But in defense of that, the ensemble cast in this movie is so wonderful, I think. And you get so much time with each of them.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about being into this movie. And what if it's just a movie about these guys coming home to the Jim Crow South in the 1930s?
I would have liked it better.
Cast of characters is wonderful to spend time with, and they all get their moments. So it probably does run long because everybody gets a chance to shine, and I think to a T, everyone slam dunks that shit.
Yeah, I agree. I don't dislike this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing it again because I feel like my rating is going to go up on a second watch. But there are 3 or 4 distinct things I don't care for in this movie. Well, and other than that, I think it's great.
Well, let's get into it. Let's head into the lobby. take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll start arguing about shit. You, sir, are a fucking idiot.
You are wrong.
How dare you, sir?
This could never be as good as Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Yeah, wait a second. Now, wait a second. Didn't you give that like an 8.5? So, like, literally...
I gave it an 8.
Oh, my God.
I gave Dusk Till Dawn an 8.
No, okay. Well, let's fucking... All right. Taking off the kid gloves and putting on the not very nice gloves.
All right, I'll see you in a minute.
I'll see you in hell, McCarty.
Hey, fellas, don't fight over that hot dog. There's plenty for everyone. Big, plump, and juicy, wrapped in an oven-fresh bun. Add mustard, relish, ketchup, and go to work. Yes, the hot dogs at our refreshment center are the best you'll find anywhere. Everybody agrees on that. Show starts in 1 minute.
And we're back.
I've been back. I've been back for like 5 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just fucking waiting for you.
Yeah, no, I had to go get some water.
Whatever, dude.
And I had to go, take a leak. And,
Sure.
I needed to check my email real quickly.
Yeah. Right. All
Here's
right.
something I don't like about this movie. You know what this movie has? One too many musical numbers and Vampire River Dance.
Rocky Road to Dublin.
Yes.
Well, music is...
Rocky Road to Dublin was dumb.
Music is threaded into this whole fabric of this story.
It is. I love the fact that the music is threaded in this, and I love the use of the music. But Rocky Road to Dublin, which is the Vampire River Dance moment, I thought was kind of laughable and took me out of it to the point where I was like, ugh, really?
Yeah, that one made more sense to me than the magic moment that precedes it, where
The I Lied music video?
The I Lied music video?
That's the song,
what
I'm
it's
pretty
called?
sure. You're talking about the Caress Through the Ages of music.
Yes.
I believe the song is I Lied.
Yeah. Let's get there, though.
Okay.
Because there's so much before there.
Yeah.
That's good.
This movie is more of a musical than I thought it would be. This movie is less of a vampire movie than I thought it would be.
Well, you said before I went in to see it, I was like, I'm going to see Sinners today. And you said something like, well, I hope you like musical numbers.
Did I really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. So this movie actually had less musical numbers than I thought after you said that. I was expecting, actually, what am I getting myself into?
I wasn't expecting any musical numbers. And I'll be honest, when I came out of the theater and I saw it with my wife, Grace, we were in San Diego on our anniversary, and we went and saw
Whale's vagina.
Yeah, exactly.
San Diego, not...
Not my wife, Grace. She is dying of laughter right now, which is good because she's listening to it right now. Not right now, but in the future.
When will then be now?
Yeah. Anyway,
Soon.
We came out of the movie and she said, that was amazing. I said, what would you give it? And she said, I rate that 9 out of 10.
Hey,
so she felt
all right,
the same
Grace.
way you did.
Awesome.
Cut to 2 weeks later, we're watching Dusk Till Dawn. And at the end of Dusk Till Dawn, I said, which movie did you like better, Dusk Till Dawn or Sinners? And she looked over at me, might have been a little stoned, looked over at me and said, Dusk Till Dawn. I was like, really? I go, but you gave Sinners a 9. And she goes, yeah, I might have been wrong.
You put too much pressure because you worked on From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's not true. I just keep turning and looking at, you like this movie, right? This movie's funny? You enjoy it? Yeah. So yeah, let's run through this as much as we can from our remembering the one theatrical viewing.
Well, it opens with a mythic voiceover, right? It's setting the table.
Right.
It's talking about music right from the beginning. right?
And
it's talking about
and how it can affect spirits and
the legends of people performing music so pure. It's supernatural, a gift that can bring great healing or attract great evil.
Yeah, I thought, okay, I see where this is going. Great.
Yeah. So it is setting the table for music right from the first minute of this movie.
Sure.
And it's 1932, Mississippi. And this rather haggard-looking dude is entering a church. He's been through a hell of a night. He's got a broken guitar neck in his hand, or maybe it's the whole broken guitar, but...
Yeah, I think it's just the neck.
And the church doors swing open. Everything inside is like pristine white, and it's like a black church in the deep south. And everybody's aghast looking at this kid, who is Sam, who will be one of our lead characters going in this, because he's all cut up and his clothes are bloody and he looks like he's been through hell and back. And he's having flashbacks as he's coming into the church. You see brief flashes of the vampires from the night before, and his father, who you'll find out his father is the preacher in the church, and he implores him to leave these sinning ways behind. And then it cuts to one day earlier, just one day.
Yeah.
And I have a couple criticisms of this movie, too. The fact that it all happens in one day. I mean,
Yeah.
as somebody who helps run a theater, let me tell you what you don't do is purchase your venue, get all the food, get the entertainment, get it all lit, get your security, and get an audience all in one day.
I don't understand how that could even be possible and why that would be a plot point. Why can't you just stretch that out over a week? Doesn't make sense.
I mean, later on, you'll find out, because these twins, Michael B. Jordan playing the Smokestack twins, Smoke and Stack. One of them wears blue, the other one wears red. In the very beginning of the movie, I was like, well, I guess that's how we're doing it. We're just color-coding our twins in this.
Yeah. One of them had a gold tooth and a mustache, right? And the other one didn't have the mustache or didn't have the tooth?
He didn't have a tooth, I think, the one in blue. Although, like I said, I think Michael B. Jordan does a really nice job.
He does. He does a great job. Yeah.
Differentiating.
But like I said, at one point,
characters.
I started looking for the flaws. And that drew me out of it a little bit. Had you had two different actors, would have not been an issue.
Well, he's like Ryan Coogler's boy, too, right? Like those guys, they started out with Fruitvale Station, and then
Creed.
they made Creed, and then made Black Panther together, and now this. So, of course, he's playing the De Niro to Coogler's Scorsese at this point in his career.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
What do you want to do, Michael? Like, sure, you want to play two characters? Absolutely. Go for it.
I feel it was slightly gimmicky. In a movie that does not need to be gimmicky.
They're coming down from Chicago. They're at an old sawmill, and they're buying it from some fine white-suited gentleman down there.
I say, good sir.
The general is in rare form.
In rare form, indeed.
They're buying the sawmill from him. Yeah, this will do fine. There's no Klan around here, right? And he's like, oh, Klan, I declare. The Klan hasn't been around these parts since last week. I mean, we will find out that this guy is totally in the KKK.
Yeah.
That is a plot point that'll come racing back towards the end of this movie.
Also, kind of unnecessary,
Hey, man. Yeah. Just like Nazis. You can fucking kill some Nazis. I'm never going to complain about it.
Absolutely. But
you want to ice the cake with some
They could have been killed in a different way. They could have been... We'll get to that at the end.
Yeah. I'm not 100% disagreeing with you on that point.
That's a tacked-on thing.
You get there and you're like, oh, there's more movie coming, I guess. I did read one review that was like, this has more false endings than Return of the King.
Are we going to now refer to the sinner? Did it sin at the end?
But it's flashing back and forth between the Smokestack twins and our boy Sam, who is sharecropper. He's out there in the cotton fields, and he's like just blowing through it. He is getting everything done because he's got plans that night, right? He wants to find his guitar, and he wants to head into town. Don't know exactly where he's going yet, but he can't find his guitar, so he has to go looking for it, and he finds it in the church with his father, who implores him, give up these evil ways of music and dancing. I need you here at the church. You keep dancing with the devil, he's going to follow you home. Another thing I like about this movie is that his father, the preacher, an obstacle to what our boy wants, but not a bad guy.
No.
Like, the preacher's not a bad guy. He's not a jerk. He's not smashing the guitar like, no son of mine is ever going to be a blues musician. No honky-tonkin' and juke jointing for you. No.
The devil's choice.
His dad is really just trying to steer him back towards the church, but Sam doesn't want none of that. He gets picked up by the twins. They drive to a truck that they've kind of hidden in the woods while they got all this Irish beer. You know, they're going to set it up in a day.
Yeah.
And they're going to start moving with this. We're just essentially going to go meet all our characters who are going to do
the venue,
all the jobs.
Going to get the piano player, going to pick out the rest of the band, going to pick out the security, getting the food from the Chinese grocer.
I mean, and you know, too, just like logistics-wise, these fucking guys pull off a miracle. Because everyone's like, sure, I can do it. Sure, that price sounds great.
Yeah. When do you need it? In 4 hours? Easy.
You need it fast, good,
and cheap?
No problem.
Obviously not movie producers.
Well, they got a lot to do, so they got to split up, right?
Yeah.
So Stack takes Sam in the car, Smoke takes the truck into town where he is going to approach the Chinese grocer. He gets out of the truck, he sees the little girl, he's like, listen to me, I got a lot of stuff in the back of this truck, you know who I am, you know, I'm Smoke. And she's like, oh, he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. So what you going to do, you're going to watch the truck, and if anybody comes and mess with it, you're going to lay on this horn. And she's like, okay. And he's like, no, not okay. I've asked you to do something. Now we got to talk numbers. And so he sort of walks this girl through negotiating a price with her.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a lovely touch.
It is.
It shows you something about that character that they have a scary reputation. You get that from that dialogue. And you also find out he's like community-oriented, but he's also a numbers guy.
Wants to help the community.
He heads into the Chinese grocer, and yes, I need like 800 pounds of catfish.
Yeah.
And they're like, sure.
Yeah.
No problem.
I got an icebox full of it.
Okay. Well, the horn starts blaring. Oh, shit. Who's fucking with my truck? Sees a couple of guys in there rooting through the back. Motherfuckers, I just left this truck 2 minutes ago. And they're not running even though the girl's laying on the horn.
Yeah.
Guy gets out of the truck. Smoke is like, Henry, that you? He's, oh, shit, Smoke. We thought she was joking.
I didn't know this was your truck.
Yeah, he shoots him in the ass. Bam.
Yeah.
The other guy runs away. He's got his gun. They're like, stop there. And they have a little negotiation. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, don't take my shit. Don't touch my shit. Okay. And then the other guy's just standing there, and he just fucking shoots the other guy in the leg.
Yeah.
Like, in the knee.
That felt kind of weirdly unnecessary.
Oh, I love it. I love it as a choice. Yeah, because he's got a reputation. He has to be a fucking hard ass. And he says, he's like, I can't let you fools go telling people like I almost put the hammer down.
Yeah.
But then he goes and he fucking pays for their medical bills.
Okay. I'll back off that one. But I'm not giving you Vampire River Dance.
Yeah, we'll get there. So then the grocer, his wife comes in and he's like, I need a sign painted. Oh, when do you need it? Tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, I only got one color. Okay. And they do a little negotiating here, too. But yes, again, they're like, sure, we can do that. No problem. Well, Stack and Sam are on the road, and you get a little grim backstory with the other twin, you know, how Smoke had to kill their dad. A little bit of history with the guitar that they gave to Sam. It's a beautiful guitar that he's playing.
Yep.
And Stack is like, you been practicing on that thing? And Sam's like, yeah. And I was like, well, come on, give me a little traveling music. And Sam starts singing, and holy shit, he's fucking great.
Yep.
He's great.
Yep.
And this music has already had a lot of underscoring in it. And Oddly enough, the guy that does the score of this movie is Ludwig Göransson. He's a Swedish dude.
Ludwig Göransson. What a name.
A movie that has African American music sort of threaded into its very fibers. The guy that does the score is Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
But I did read, so Ludwig Göransson's father is a guitar player who spent a lot of time in the American South. And taught Ludwig how to play the blues when he was growing up.
Wow.
Yeah, so he has the background for it.
Ludwig is an old blues hat. Yes. Nice.
But this music fucking rules in this movie.
I am very sad about my old woman.
Burk, 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 burk.
She left me long ago. Burk, burk, burk.
Burger, 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 bork, 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 bork. Burger, 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 bork, 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 bork.
There is no more meatballs.
Bork, 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 bork. I'm going to IKEA. Bork, 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 bork.
I've bought the tiny fish.
Bork, 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 bork.
They're delicious and they're red.
Bork, 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 bork.
But they make me feel sad in the end, and I'm sick.
Bork, 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 bork.
Oh, the Swedish Blues. How can we go wrong?
Well, Stack and Sam arrive at the train station, and this is where they're like, well, they see a guy playing the harmonica. That's Delroy fucking Lindo.
Fuck yeah.
She's
a blonde-haired woman.
Bark, 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 bark.
Oh, Delroy Lindo's kicking it, man. He's doing good.
Yeah. And Sam's like, I'll play my guitar with you. And Delroy's like, step the fuck back, man. This is my corner.
This is my corner. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
I mean, you're not wrong about the runtime on this. It's a long movie. But again, I think it's because every one of these characters that we're about to introduce, who will get in the shit later in this movie, they all get their, 5 pages in their
character
introduction.
Development up the ass, which is good. I love character development. It gives you a reason to care about all of them.
And to the point we were making earlier about the big magic moment that's coming, I'm so invested in these characters, I don't know how I feel about being taken out of it.
Yeah, completely.
But they convinced Delroy Lindo, whose name is Delta Slim in this. They're like, hey, we got this job, play at our juke joint. He's like, I got a regular job. I'm not giving that up for your shit. They're like, we got Irish beer. And he's like, I will see you there tonight.
Yeah. You had me at beer.
And you also meet Perline in this. A lovely lady making eyes at our guitar player after he does eventually play a little bit with Delta Slim here. And then we meet Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld. She sees Stack and she's like, you son of a bitch. You said you were going to come back for me, and I waited for you. And she's got a lot of scorn in her. Like, oh, watch out for this lady. She is a firecracker. But,
Lord have mercy.
But she is. I mean, she gets down and dirty right there. He says something, and she's like, oh, yeah? Well, when you stuck your tongue in my coos and fucked me so hard, I didn't really think that was the direction you were heading.
She is like 20 pounds of Nashville hot chicken pussy.
Listen. Carolina Reaper. Hot damn. Michael B. Jordan plays these two characters, and Michael B. Jordan is who he is. He is now an A-list movie star, and he is going to be essentially carrying this movie in a lot of ways.
Nice guy. Worked with him on Creed 3.
He gets involved with two characters, two different ladies in this. Both these ladies are fearless with him. Yeah. And they tell him to fucking straighten up whenever he needs it. And I appreciate that about this movie, that it's not just the ego of our hero driving it forward, and that the women just do whatever he says because he's Michael B. Jordan. You know what I mean? They both have backbones, and they both tussle with him a little bit in their scenes, and I dig that. Mary is white, or passes for white. I think she says her grandfather was half black or something like that.
Mary had a little lamb. His face was white as snow now.
That's Sven Ray Vaughan. Svenny Ray Vaughan.
Svenny Ray Vaughan. Oh, that's great. I think that needs to be an AI generated image. The Swedish Chef mixed with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
So our boys are gathering all their people with them now. You got Stack, Sam, Slim on the road. Slim gives a little grim backstory about, when he had it good and then falling on hard times again. He's tying it into the blues, and they stop by the cotton fields to pick up their bouncer. They're just going to checklist one thing after another. Just the most direct line, the most direct path.
Yeah.
These are the best producers you could ever hope for. These guys just fucking get it done.
Totally. And you get your standard, there you are, you son of a bitch. I told you never to come back. When it's
you
that
got a lot of nerve showing your face around here.
Yeah.
How you doing, old buddy? Now, this is Omar Miller is going to play a character named Cornbread here. This dude is big. He is a big guy. He looks like the monster that ate Forrest Whitaker. You know what I mean? Like, he bears such a resemblance to Forrest Whitaker. I was like, is this guy related? Well, apparently he's been getting it his whole career, and no, they're not related at all.
Okay. He's Mardi Gras Forrest Whitaker.
Like the Mardi Gras Tarantino vampire?
Yes, exactly.
Nice. But no, after a little convincing, Cornbread's going to join him that night. He's going to run security for the joint. Hey, everything is coming up.
Everything is falling into place.
Yeah. Smoke drives to a remote house out there and stops by what looks like a child's grave outside of the solitary house. And inside is Annie, who was a hoodoo root doctor.
Yeah.
She is played by Wonmi Mosaku.
This is a great fucking scene.
Oh, this...
And I do mean fucking.
Listen, this is the scene. After it was done, in my notes, I wrote, I love this movie. Because it is wonderful.
This is some A-list, perfect, well-done character development.
She is Smoke's old flame. And
you learn that they lost a child.
Yeah, you see her doing a little business first with some kids. She is a hoodoo root doctor, witch doctor, witchy woman out here, giving cures to the local folks. And he's not having any of it. All that hoodoo nonsense, it don't work. The only real power comes from money, and he's got money. And he wants her to come be the cook that night to cook up all the catfish.
Yeah.
And your magic doesn't work. And she's like, well, how do you know? I wasn't working roots and praying for you every day to keep you safe while you're up in Chicago. And he's like, if it worked so well, why didn't it work on our baby then?
Yeah. And you're like, what?
Fuck, man. It's just getting...
What? No.
That's right, Mark Wahlberg. They had a baby in it.
Oh, man. It's tense and it's tender, and I love you and I miss you, and it goes into a sex scene, and it is absolutely beautiful, and he invites her again to cook that night. And then this is also when you learn, like, he has a little mojo bag around his neck that she had made, a little talisman to kind of keep him safe, and she works on it a little bit before she gives it back to him. And I was like, I love this movie. I love the music in this movie. I love these characters in this movie. Like, every scene is just fucking banging spot on. And then things are going to take a turn right here, because this is when you start getting the first real horror elements in this.
And it's been a while.
Yeah.
In this movie.
You'll see some white guy running through the fields who looks all sort of mangled, sunburnt and blistered, and he comes knocking on a door, and a man and a woman greet the door with like a gun. They're like, whoa, what do you want around here? And he's an Irish dude.
Yeah.
I'm on the run from some Choctaw. They're trying to take me scalp, or he says some shit like that.
Yeah.
Peeks through the door, and you get a little glimpse on the bed where they've got their clan robe and shield kind of set up. Like, oh, cracker ass.
And don't they say something like, "You're not trouble, are you?" And he's like,
"No, ma'am, we're not."
There is some moment, right, where they ask him if he's like a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah, and I think he responds by giving him, he's like, look, I've got this gold. And he has fucking gold coins with him.
Yeah, amazing gold coin.
The gold coins were also a weird thing for me in this movie. And you find out this dude's a vampire, and okay, he's an Irish vampire, and he's been around for a while. But
I mean, he's been running across the field, and his back is smoking.
Yeah, but they're like, we like gold. Come on in.
Oh,
I do really like how much you can't come in unless you're invited.
Have I mentioned that I want the gold?
He is Irish.
How often the you can't come in unless you're invited trope comes up in this.
A lot.
I think it's great in this movie.
Sure.
So he comes in, and then shortly thereafter, a truck full of Choctaw Native Americans pull up.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're looking for this guy. And I have to tell you, my personal biggest regret about this movie is that we never see these dudes again.
I know.
Because I was like, these dudes are fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, give me Native American vampire hunters.
Yes, I will watch that movie.
Fuck yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fucking go. And they essentially, I mean, I don't know why. They're like, well, I guess he's in your house. And God have mercy on, they don't say God have mercy on your soul, but that's the sentiment. And they drive away. And I thought, well, if you guys really knew what kind of problem this vampire
just burn
could
the house
be,
down.
You would burn the house down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's a flaw.
listen, we already know that these folks are Klan members. We're not going to feel that much remorse when they're like, oh.
No, not at all.
But no, they leave, and sadly, we never see them again.
Yeah.
And the woman's like, Bert, the engines are gone, or whatever the fuck she says.
Yeah.
And she's like, Bert? Goes in the back room, and that's when you have the vampire reveal. Because our Irishman has got his face covered in blood now.
Yeah. Come on in, Missy.
Just topping myself off.
Yeah.
Oh, his eyes glow, and then, hey, guess what? Bert gets up right away, too. Because it does not take long at all for people to transform in this movie.
I mean, it didn't in From Dusk Till Dawn either.
Unless it did.
Yeah. There were a couple times.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
where it took
wildly
longer.
inconsistent From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. I'm not trying to defend Dusk Till Dawn against this. But,
Well, I mean, I don't care in From Dusk Till Dawn.
yeah, exactly. You don't give
a point,
a shit.
the movie's just, it's just ridiculous.
This
Everything's
is a
ridiculous.
serious movie. Dusk Till Dawn is campy.
So the lens of scrutiny, I think, gets a little sharper on this one than it does on From Dusk Till Dawn.
100% agree.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it with the lens of scrutiny.
There's a party tonight at the juke joint, and
yeah.
and fucking behold, everything has just come into place. They're putting a sign up as the catfish is frying in the oil. I guess they got that kitchen set up.
Yeah. That dirty old sawmill has a clean working kitchen now.
It's got like lights hanging on the ceiling.
Was there power there already?
The stage is ready.
Did they reach out to the electric company and let them know that they were setting up an account?
They had to go and provide proof of residency.
Exactly.
Two forms of identification.
They have a driver's license.
No, it was all in place.
It was all in place. Yeah.
They just showed up wearing a white sheet, and they were like, "Oh, you're the same people that were there before."
Yeah,
so
great. You're
go
fine.
ahead.
Okay, you're
we
good.
know you've
then.
been around. No, there's a party at the juke joint, and lo and behold, everybody knows too, because a crowd is piling in, and the bouncers letting them all in, and they're trying all this Irish beer, and who else arrives but Mary? Haley Steinfeld's character.
Mary had a little lamb.
Bork, 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 bork.
This is what I slow down.
Bork, 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 bork. Well, Mary arrives, and they're like, you can't come in here. And she's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
Cornbread trying to be tough, and she is not having it.
Yeah, she's like, lick my ass, cornbread.
Yeah. Did she say that? Was that scribbled in your notes?
Listen.
She says some pretty harsh things.
She's got a sailor's mouth on her.
Yeah.
No, man, we're not.
Sammy comes up to her and he's like, hey, you gotta leave. And she's like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm with the twins. Did you just say you were with the twins? You best get the fuck out my face. And charges past him. She will not be deterred. She is there. And then obviously she has ties to the community because there's other characters like Annie who are like, oh, Mary's here. And then she talks to Sammy at the bar at some point. It's a nice little turn because he's like, what are you? And she's like, I'm a human being. Yeah. But I know what you mean. And let me give you a little backstory about how the twins' mother had died in childbirth and her mother nursed them until they were able to be on their own. And she's known them forever. And that's how she has the ties to the family and the community. All the pieces are moving here in the juke joint. And it just seems like a cool place to hang out. And Sammy's hitting on Pearline again. And she's like, whatever, guy. And then Delta Slim, Delroy Lindo, he brings up Sammy, play some guitar for us, and then he fucking crushes it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Pearline is like, oh, well, hello. I mean, it's been working for guitar players since the dawn of time.
That's right. Drummers, take a seat in the back, please. Your girlfriend is paying for band practice.
Brilliant. This is also when we get the big magical musical number. And you get that voiceover that you get from the beginning of the movie that's like music transcends history and it has a power to heal but also bring great evil with it. And yeah, I'm so invested in this movie at this point. That when a dude dressed like Bootsy Collins all of a sudden appears playing guitar.
An electric guitar.
I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
When the music shifts to a little bit of a hip-hop funk beat.
Yeah.
And then you see African tribesmen dancing and jumping around. I was like, whoa, okay.
What's happening here?
Yeah, so they're going through different phases of music from the beginning of time until now, essentially. And this movie takes place in the 30s. So it's got stuff from the past and stuff from the future. And I was totally pulled out.
Yeah.
And this is the moment that a lot of people are like, oh, it's so magical. It's so great. It's so wonderful. Well, yeah, you know what? It makes a good music video. But this movie doesn't need a music video in the middle of it.
I think if you take the scene out of the movie, like if you just would look at that without the movie before and the movie after, it's an amazing moment.
Sure.
And it's well shot, and it's cool, and it is a celebration of like African American culture and black music and black joy in a way that you don't really see too often, especially in a movie on this scale. And it's a bold choice. It's an amazing choice. I commend the director in a lot of ways, but it undeniably took me out of the movie.
Yeah. Not because of the choices, only because of the weird transcendence of time.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? That's weird.
They stitch it back to that opening voiceover, but I didn't. And again, maybe I'll watch it a second time and I will see the thread or hear the thread a little bit more clearly.
Yeah.
But
that's why I'm interested to see
there wasn't enough connection from the beginning to when they do, because we've had so many great scenes, engaging character beats.
Yeah.
I'm writing in my notes. I love this fucking movie.
Yeah.
So
all of a sudden the brakes are slammed.
Yeah. It really made me wonder and continue to wonder how I feel about that movie. So much so that I'm dipping back into my old fucking theater history training where I'm like, well, this is a lot like the fucking Alienation Effect. I mean, it is.
It is.
It is.
What's the name of that German dude?
Bertolt Brecht. Yes.
Bertolt Brecht.
Yeah.
The blues stylings of Bertolt Brecht.
The Fremdungseffekt. Yeah. Listen, that's my own shit, and I'm sure if there's any fucking theater historians that listen to our podcast, they may be like, you're completely wrong. That's not what he does. That's not how this is used at all.
I was very unhappy when she left me. The blues stylings.
Yeah, they just stopped the song and fucking told you directly what was going on. You'd be like,
9. I am very unhappy.
Can't you just keep playing the music?
No.
So I do think this moment is beautiful, but it did take me out.
It's beautiful, but feels kind of out of place.
Although,
and again, the message is great.
It's
Nothing
so
wrong
intentional.
with any of that. Yeah.
It's so intentional. And I've been thinking about it nonstop since I saw this movie. So
sure. Which is probably a good indication that it's a good movie, because you can't stop thinking about that scene.
Yeah, but as the voiceover says, that not only does this music have a power to bring great healing, it also attracts evil to it. And as this moment continues, it goes up through the ceiling, and you see a sort of future glimpse where this juke joint has burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And outside, there's me Irish vampire again.
Aye.
And now the 2 cracker cronies he's got with him are all looking to come and have a good time at the juke joint.
Please, can't we come in?
They come in a-calling with a folksy little blues ditty about picking Robin clean. Oh, gonna pick a Robin clean, pick a Robin clean. They're like,
it's like fucking Peter, Paul, and Mary fell off the boat in Dublin.
It's pretty funny because they're like, hey, can we come in and play?
Here's some very white-sounding music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, apparently that is an old blues song. I did not know this until I researched it.
It's like Don No Soul Simmons. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree.
That is that Amazon Women on the Moon.
Amazon Women on the Moon, yeah.
Blacks with No Soul as B.B. King, as David Allen Greer singing that song. That's fucking funny.
That is a good skit. Yeah. It's a good clip.
David Allen Greer's fucking bobbing back and forth in his like frilly shirt.
Singing Tony Orlando and Dawn.
These 3 white folks want to come in, and they sing their song, and Cornbread's like, I don't know. And Smoke is like, no, look, it's going to cause trouble.
Yep.
And they're like, what about that white lady? And she's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay. So the vamps, well, they don't know they're vamps, so those folks leave. And then there's a little back and forth where you find out, like, listen, we can't be taking these wooden nickels. We gotta make money at this place. That's what this whole thing is about, because they're crunching numbers. And so Mary's like, listen, we can't be turning anyone away. I'll go invite him because I'm white. I'll approach him. I'll see what's up. So she goes out and talks to them, and they're singing a sad Irish song out there. They're not too far away. They got their banjos and their lovely mellifluous voices, and she starts talking to them, and they're like, oh, well, we've got this gold. And she's like, oh shit, where'd you get this?
Have I mentioned that I want to be gold?
Well, Mary did not want the gold because it looked attractive, but then they say, gold's not going to help you because you've got a broken soul right now, because her mom had just died, and somehow they smelled it out on her and creeps her out, and she's like, you know what, I'm going to head back. And so she starts walking back, and then you just see in the background, like, one of the vampires take flight.
Yeah, little Lost Boys floaty fly action.
Totally.
Yeah.
The little Lost Boys floaty fly action. Little Lost Boy, now with floaty fly action.
That
and
old
Kung
trope.
Fu grip. Well, Mary returns.
But without a little lamb.
Bork, 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 bork. She needs to be let in. Cornbread's like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
And at this point, Perline is just wailing because in a scene just before that, Sammy proved that not only was he a fantastic guitar player, but he was also a cunning linguist.
Yeah. Well done, sir.
Yeah. And she has now been unlocked. And she is singing and crawling on the stage and wailing. Everybody's having a good time. Cornbread's like, yo, I got to take a leak. So, Delta Slim, you mind manning the door? Well, sure. Cornbread heads out into the darkness and hears like essentially while he's out there.
The vampire version of it.
Now Mary's back, and she's going all Vampy McGood times on Stack. He's like, whoa, you are coming on strong. And she's like, I'm going to suck your dick like it's got the antidote in it. He's like, oh, okay. So they head into
Indeed, you do seem to have a touch of the vapors.
They're getting all hot and heavy, and he's like, Mary, you are drooling. And she's leaning over him. She's like, you want some? And he's like, yeah. And she just drools right in his mouth. And you're like, fuck, they're going for it now. Well, they don't want to interrupt them, but there's a problem with the cheater out in the other room. And Smoke has found some loaded dice. He's like, Sam, go get my brother. And Sam is like, it sounds like they're fucking. He's like, I don't care what they're doing. I said, go get my brother. So then Sam goes back in there, and he opens the door, and he sees Mary just
going to town.
Fang town, just sucking on his neck, slurping it up. Oh, shit. Oh, what's wrong? Smoke comes in. What the fuck is happening? Mary's there, face covered in blood. He just unloads his pistols on her. Bam. She goes down. Stack's bleeding now. What the fuck is happening? Then Mary pops back up. We're gonna kill every last one of you, and runs out the door. Everyone's like, what the fuck is happening?
What? No.
That's right.
Mark Wahlberg. Hoodoo Annie is like, this doesn't look fucking good to me.
Yeah.
We gotta put this body outside. And Smoke's like, I'm not putting my brother's fucking body outside, but we decide we'll just lock it in this room for right now. Pretty much everybody in this joint is like, party's over. And they're fucking heading home. Chinese couple's like, the guy's like, I'm going to go get the car. I'll start it up, and then we can head out. Okay.
Everyone goes outside to be killed by vampires.
Yeah. We don't see it quite yet, I don't think. Because then Cornbread comes back, and they're like, Cornbread, where the fuck you been? He's like, I just had to pee. And they're like, in the meantime, the white devil came in and sucked my brother's soul out. And I shot her, and she ran out. Oh, fuck, I'm sorry. Well, let me in and we'll take care of business. And then,
what do you mean, let me in?
Why you need an invitation all of a sudden, Cornbread? He's like, well,
I'm just being polite.
Listen, I like this scene. I like it. I like how this little bit of vampire lore, they just keep hammering on it. But I found this entertaining every time. And finally, he's like, well, fine. If you won't let me in, just let me have my money. And Smoke's like, okay, and grabs a handful of bills. And as soon as that hand crosses the threshold, it's like... Cornbread just comes after, his hand fangs out. Smoke shoots him in the face.
That was a good moment.
Shit. Well, there was so much lead up to it.
Big tense moment getting to that.
And then Stack, all of a sudden. Oh shit.
Come on,
knocking on the door.
Let me out.
Come on, let me out of here. I'm fucking like, no. And
doing the fucking Salem's Lot kid outside the window bit.
Oh, let me in, Danny. Isn't it, Danny? Oh, chilling. One of my top scares of all time. Original Salem's Lot, that little tappy tap on the window.
Nice. That's a good one.
But I will say, for all the horror elements that we've seen so far, I got my kid in the theater with me. She's almost 13. Don't freak out anybody. She's cool. This is what she did.
Bored at all in this movie?
No, not at all.
Good.
She loved this movie.
Great.
But it wasn't the vampire. It was the brother has come back to life. And it's no good. That's what bothered her. In this moment. She's like, oh man, not the brother.
Yeah, because she liked him as a character, and he got killed, and now he's a bad guy. Oh no.
He's a bad guy, and he's got family here and people who care about him, and it's like, this is no good. Well,
that's
Stack
good.
will bust out of the door, and he will flee out of there. And then we get, much like From Dusk Till Dawn, what do we know about vampires scene.
Yeah. Exactly.
They have the same kind of scene. It was like, silver, garlic. Well, there's plenty of garlic around here. Sunlight, wooden stakes. You realize, like, oh, yeah, they're going to be trapped in a bar with a bunch of vampires outside.
They're going to be killing vampires. They got to come up with ways to do it. Let's see, they're brothers. One of them's already turned. Okay, that happened as well.
They got a montage of them preparing stuff, I think, at this point.
They were bad guys, the brothers, technically. Right?
Yeah.
That's another thing. The music correlations, that's a lot.
And this is when we get your vampire river dance outside.
Vampire river dance.
Everybody who left that building now has been turned, and they're all singing the Rocky Road to Dublin.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I like about this idea is the hive mind of the vampire. The vampire bites somebody and then has all of their knowledge. Yep. And they, bite another person, that person bites somebody, all the knowledge just translates to all of them. That is a cool thing. That's also kind of a dumb thing in the fact of the Vampire River Dance, where now all of them can sing and dance an Irish jig. I'm just like, wow, this has taken me completely out at this moment because this is dumb.
Well, you're saying it's river dance, but it's not like they're all in a line dancing a jig and everything.
I've seen the movie once.
Subtle.
I've seen the movie once.
Subtle than that.
And I remember thinking, what the fuck? This is like a river dance. And it probably isn't. It's just how I remember it at this point.
No, he's definitely dancing a jig, and they are all dancing around him and stuff.
Yeah.
And they are singing The Rocky Road to Dublin. It's a fucking old Irish song. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Feels out of place.
The hive mind is a cool idea, though.
It's a cool idea.
They also want Sammy because they want his music and they want his song, and that's where it touches on those themes of appropriating the black identity and the black music and filtering it through the white audience, so to speak.
The popular white performers that adopted that sound and made it more popular only because they were white.
Elvis, right? The number one example. Like Elvis is getting famous off a lot of songs and music that black folk wrote.
Absolutely.
But another thing that's probably extraneous in this movie is they find a body that they think has been bit. And they're like, how did it get bit? Nobody here's a vampire. Or are we? And then they do the thing test, which I thought of as the thing test.
It is totally the thing test.
The blood test from the thing, only they're using garlic. And everybody's got to eat a piece of garlic to prove that they're not a vampire. And a couple of people have problems with it, but this is one thing I was like, this doesn't add really anything. Because you find out that, in fact, that guy wasn't bit by a vampire at all.
Yeah.
So it just had me thinking like, well, what's the whole point of this scene?
It is kind of wasted time.
But you get another similarity around here to From Dusk Till Dawn, and that is Annie, the hoodoo root doctor, essentially says to people, listen, if I'm turning, you better kill me. Just like Harvey Keitel was like, you make no mistake, just no mistake. Pun not intended. But you got to kill me. So another similarity there. And then there's some negotiations that happen with the vamps outside who are like, let us in, let us in. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But then the Chinese guy, right, who'd gone out for the car, he's turned and he's like, come on,
honey.
You got to get out of here. Join us.
I'm just going to go home and get our daughter.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, what? And this is when you learn that, again, that they're all sharing these memories, too. And they threaten to kill the daughter. And then they're like, well, just give us Sammy and we'll let you live. We just want his music. And then they say, look, why are you fighting this? Like, the world left you behind. Join us. Listen, the yokel who sold you this place in the very beginning, well, he was Clan. And this guy here, Bert, is his nephew. And I know, because I know Bert's memories, that they were planning to come here tomorrow morning and kill everybody who's in this place. So this isn't the community you want to be part of. Join us. And I thought, oh, are they actually making a compelling argument to become vampires because it's better than living around the fucking KKK? I was like, that is, they're actually, I'm almost convinced. But there's back and forth. They say, no, we're not doing it. And the Chinese woman is like, look, we got to go. We got to fight. We got to go out there. We got to take the fight to them. And they're like, nah, brah, that's not happening, brah. Just take it easy. And then, they threatened her daughter. So she makes the choice, and I fucking love it. And she just screams from inside, come on in, you sons of bitches, or bastards, or whatever. And I was like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Because that's the choice I would have made. If people were like, no, you can't go fucking save your daughter. And I mean, it is maybe a selfish choice, but like, you're not going to stop me from doing everything in my power to help my fucking children.
And yeah, exactly. And here comes the big, giant fucking vampire fight scene we've been waiting almost 2 hours for. And
bloodbath ensues.
So short.
Well, it's certainly no From Dusk Till Dawn.
No. And I went into this movie expecting From Dusk Till Dawn in the 1930s South. And at this point, I'm like waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then when this does happen, it is over pretty quickly. There's some good moments in this fight, for sure, but it is over pretty quickly. And also, some of the direction in this fight sequence felt clumsy to me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that point. For instance, when she says, "Come on in, you motherfuckers," and then, okay, the vamps are coming in, they cut to the people inside then are going to the weapons to get their weapons. But it's almost like she didn't just invite them all in. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not treating her like, what the fuck did you just do? There's no reference that she's just opened the floodgates or anything. I thought that was an odd cut. Because they go from she's screaming and they're being held back to like, uh-oh, it's on. And then everyone's just like, well, let's go get our Molotov cocktails and our fucking guns and all that stuff.
And some of this stuff got confusing. Like, I wasn't sure who was fighting what where. And
a little
too fast-paced, a little too frenetic. It felt clumsy.
I mean, Dusk Till Dawn's pretty frenetic too, but I will counter with this, and that is the stakes are much higher in this one than they are From Dusk Till Dawn, because I care about many more of the people. Like, yeah, you know what? Tom Savini was fun, but I didn't really give a shit when he died, and Fred Williamson was the same thing.
Yeah.
I felt bad when Harvey Keitel got bit, but like, I didn't have that much invested with the characters. When Delroy Lindo makes a sacrifice play, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah. Totally.
Now, here's another thing I find confusing about this movie is that I think it does touch on themes of community a lot. And when they're making that negotiation with them, they're like, join us. The world's leaving you behind. It's better with us. You know, you think like, God, is that a better community for them than the Jim Crow South? Like, how do I feel about that? How do I reconcile that?
Sure.
And when Annie gets bit, because Stack will bite her, okay, she's going to turn, and then Smoke gets onto her, and he kills her. He stakes her, just like she made him promise that he would do. And it's rough. It's a touching scene. You know, I don't want to see that happen. But then Mary and Stack, who are both vampires now, they freak out. They're like, no, what are you doing? Like, we had plans.
Yeah.
And that had me wondering about the rules of this vampire life. Suddenly then, because I was like, do they have enough autonomy to want to create their own community? Like, they're charging in there and they're asking like, let us in, let us have the boy. What is really the strongest motivation for these vampires? And I am not sure what's driving these monsters now. If it was just the Irish one who was kind of like the vampire lord and they're all doing his bidding and everything, but in this moment, they seem to have their own motivations. And, you know, they wanted to have their family together as vampires. And I kind of don't get it.
Yeah.
But, the fight will eventually, Smoke and Stack will fight each other, and they're at each other's throats. And, oh, guess what? Stack can't get past the mojo bag here. They'll be up in the loft of the sawmill when Sammy is thrown outside and being confronted by the Irish vampire out in the water. And you know, says the Lord's Prayer to protect himself, and you get a little backstory. The Irish vampire here, too, who starts saying the Lord's Prayer with him, and he talks about being in Ireland many years ago, and the English came in.
Let me tell you, brother.
You know, forced this upon them. And then Sammy will get at least enough leverage to slam the guitar into his skull.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, good job. Maybe their bodies are a little bit mushier, too, because he really buries that fucking guitar in his skull. And all the other vampires howl in pain. The sort of hive mind thing. I think that's neat.
Yeah. That was cool.
I think that's cool. And then somehow Smoke has gotten away and stakes our Irish vampire and kills him. He goes up in a ball of flame as the sun is coming up, and all the other vampires all start burning up.
Yeah, like a little blade action.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good to see them all flame up like that.
Now, the movie could have probably ended somewhere around here, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You obviously need to go back to the beginning where our haggard-looking Sammy is coming in with a broken guitar to the church, where his father was saying, put your evil ways behind you, son.
Right. Clean that up. Show him coming back again.
But we are going to return to the king.
We are.
A couple times here.
Yes.
Because we have a whole nother subplot about, hey, those Klan guys were coming in.
Yeah.
Smoke pulls out this trunk that has, heavy machine guns, sniper rifles, Tommy guns, stuff like that. And like, oh shit.
Exactly.
And these Klan guys are going to come in the next morning, and he feels like he's got nothing to lose now. He's lost his brother. He's lost his, not wife, but his partner.
And this part is so tacked on for me.
Yeah, like I said,
these KKK guys should have showed up in the middle of the night, should have been attacked by vampires, give us that moment, then have him killing them. Like, they could be killing the KKK guys and the vampires at the same time, make it a big, brilliant action sequence. Instead, you just get this weird tacked on, like they show up at 7 in the morning to kill who? Who's still there at 7 in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I wonder if they were worried about, like, mixing the metaphor at that. But, like, if the vampires had killed the KKK guys or integrated them into the community, then when the vampires are telling the black people, join our community, it would get weird.
Yeah, but there's already a couple of KKK people in it at that point, too.
Well, good point. Now, again.
Do we want to see KKK guys get killed?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and let me tell you, like, Michael Jordan is taking shots from half court with a sniper rifle. He's coming in from the fucking top of the key with a Tommy gun.
That's right.
Michael Jordan's doing free throws with a hand grenade into the back of the truck. And then Michael Jordan fucking slam dunks the Grand Wizard in the very end. So, yeah, I don't mind seeing these guys go, that's for sure, but it does feel like a little extra. Perhaps it should have been on the extended edition of this one. But oftentimes I find this movie where I'm like, why'd you make that choice? There's something that ultimately redeems it for me. In this case, it is as he is dying because he takes a shot and he's bleeding out.
The Gladiator ending where Maximus goes to his family.
Yeah. You see Annie there in all white nursing the baby. And she's so gorgeous. She is beautiful in that white with the baby, and he's looking at her. It is kind of awesome. He's like reaching towards the spirit of his partner and his dead baby, like, oh, he's gonna be reunited. And the Klan guy's like, listen, I'll give you money or whatever. And he like takes a break and he fucking shoots that guy, and then he goes back and he takes the baby.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Resolution for him.
Yeah.
And then you get back to Sammy in church, and his father's like, set your guitar down. And for a second, I did think, like, oh my God, is this movie about to tell me that you should give up the music and just devote yourself to a life in Christ? Because if any night is going to do it, it's going to be the thing you just went through.
Yeah,
like, oh my
absolutely.
God, I conjured the devil with the fucking guitar. Like,
you are absolutely right, sir.
bury this shit in the ground.
Yeah.
And I would have felt a little odd if that was the final message, but no.
Yeah.
He's going to be in a car, broken guitar in his hand, presumably going towards Chicago. And the movie could have ended there.
Yeah, it could have. I mean, it does. The credits start to roll.
The credits roll, and Buddy Guy's name pops up there, and you're like, Buddy Guy was in this movie?
Yeah.
And then you see he's playing guitar over the credits as it bounces back and forth.
In the 90s.
And then you get this scene.
Kind of a long scene.
I know.
Yeah.
My daughter had gone, the credits started, she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And Michelle and I are like, we're gonna watch the credits on this. And then
Same thing with Grace.
Oh.
As soon as the credits rolled, Grace said, I gotta go to the bathroom. She got up and left.
Yeah.
Came back. Was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the movie's still going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Samwise Gamgee had a little bit more to say because so the name of the joint is Perline's, which is the name of the woman that was there that night.
Yep.
And so Buddy Guy he owns this joint. Buddy Guy. It's Sam as an old man.
Yeah.
He owns this joint, and the bouncer's like, yo, Sam, there's a couple out here. Told me we were closed, but they give me a couple $100. And he's like, yeah, invite him in. And then who walks through the door but Stack and Mary, and Stack has got Cosby sweater in full effect. Like, bam! Comes through that door like a
got the 4-finger ring that says Stack.
Threw up all over him.
Yeah.
And so they sit down and they have this conversation. And again, extra, did I need this part on it? And then again, it got to a thing where they got this line. Old Sammy says, you know something? Maybe once a week I wake up paralyzed reliving that night. But before the sun went down, I think that was the best day of my life. Was it like that for you? And Stack says, no doubt about it. Last time I seen my brother, last time I seen the sun, and just for a few hours, we was free. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the best day of my life. That's really cool. And then the credits go, and we left. But I understand there's another thing.
Yes.
There's another thing at the end.
I stayed.
I only was going because my little girl was getting antsy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it returns to the king one more time.
Yeah. And to be honest, you don't miss anything at the end because all it is Sam sitting alone in the 30s in a room playing a blues song for 2.5 minutes. And that's it.
Does it sound like Mary had a little lamb? Bork, 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 bork.
His fleece was white as snow now.
Bork, 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 bork.
I ate the Swedish and fish now.
Bork, 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 bork. Oh, fuck. We went on about that one, but I have to say, this movie's King Fancy. For me, it's what you want. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing it a second time. I am still grappling with that scene, though, and the way that it took me out.
Yeah.
And how do I feel that the director did that to me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I said, it's a good movie. Great things, great acting, well directed, well written, all of that. But then that sequence takes me out. Vampire River Dance annoys me. And the tacked on ending, unnecessary. That could have been worked into the film way better. And when I say tacked on ending, I'm referring only to the KKK sequence where they show up at 7 a.m, which is dumb. Why would they show up at 7 a.m? That does not make sense. They would show up in the middle of the night when everyone's there.
When everyone's there.
And cause chaos, because that would be the terror behind it. But they I'm just like, this is just kind of dumb, but it's fun to see them get killed.
Listen, if we're going to be prescriptive about this, I would say, you know what I really would have liked to see? Is the fucking Choctaw vampire hunters show up in the end.
Yeah.
To fucking wreak some havoc.
Yeah.
And some justice.
Absolutely.
Those guys, I thought, had a lot of promise, and I thought they were awesome. But, you know, he had a lot of story to tell, and he told a lot of story, and...
And it's already a long movie.
Yes, it is. Guess what? This is a long episode, too. We are still going on about this shit.
Yeah. This is epic. Mom's going to need 3 days to listen to this one. I don't know why she doesn't just sit down and wonder it.
Well, I guess our mom, Mary... has little time.
And she so sits around now.
Bork, 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 bork. No, Mary got some little time. Bork, 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 bork. Listen to her voice now. Bork, 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 bork. I'm just going to end this like every fucking blues song then. Bork, 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 bork. Bork, bork.
Tyler, take us out.
The head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
That ends another episode of The Head, the Tail, the Whole Damn Thing with Mike D. McCarthy and James Knight, your industry professionals. I'm your announcer, Tyler Patton. That was quite an episode, wasn't it? Please join us next episode for Poltergeist and Presence. That's presence as in being somewhere. It has a presence, not as in a present. Like presents, not like Christmas presents, but like another being's being present. I don't know, that's kind of weird. Like, are you present? Is your being there a present? The future is unknown and the past is unchangeable. That's what the gift of now is. That's why it's called a present. See you next time, folks.